Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
How are you?
I am good.
Man, it is gloomy today, right? This rain.
Yeah.
It's like on top of everything going on, when you sprinkle some rain on it, you get a ginormous doo-doo pie.
But if you look at the bright side, makes it easier to stay inside.
Agreed.
You know, like the nice, beautiful days make it miserable to think about you can't go do things that you want to do.
There's nothing I hate more than looking out the window and seeing how nice it is and knowing you're just supposed to be inside.
If you're, if it's crappy outside, at least you're like, oh, whatever. You know, got to be inside anyway. You know, look at it like that.
Yeah, at least you're not, inside burning the day. But anyway, we're glad you're joining us here, and you can go to tomanddan.com for all things Tom and Dan. There's merch on there, and when you order merch, not only does it help us, because we are a small business, it helps out our merch manager, Eric. He works his ass off to try and get stuff out and returns to you guys very, very quickly. We had a lot of places that we were going to send him this year, but unfortunately, those are now canceled. So,
And if you want to make old Bezos send us $3 extra a month.
Make him do it.
And it's free for you if you're an Amazon Prime member. All you have to do is subscribe to our Twitch channel, and we get $3 a month from Amazon, and that's as easy as it gets.
Yeah, it's pretty
free
rad.
for you if you have Prime, and we get $3.
And personally, I'm going to toot our horns for a second. I think we have a damn fine video product. We're live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. And then every afternoon or morning, you're going to get the replay of Twitch on YouTube. All you got to search, Tom and Dan Live. Now we have a guest on the line.
Yep.
It's our good buddy, Jacques from Fairville Megastore. You know.
Hey, guys.
The place where you get the toys to do the stuff that's good for days like today.
Yeah.
You pull the blinds, you stay inside, and you get to drilling.
Yeah.
That's what I say. And,
Drill it deep.
And you're fracking, you're drilling.
I just
You're
almost vomited because Tom said drill it deep.
Drill it deep, offshore, and oil spill.
Roughneck.
Yeah, roughneck.
Real
and,
rough.
BP and spill it everywhere. That's what I say.
Stomp them good.
And can't plug it. It's out of control.
Wet dry.
Okay, Jacques, are you already sorry that you called in?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. Love you guys. It's always fun to be on.
How is everything in Fairville land? Because, man, the number of reports of sexual awareness, spending time with your partner, intimacy, massaging, oils, lingerie, toy. Every day I get a new article from Huffington Post, USA Today, CNN of people are gone. We're inside and we are sex crazy.
Absolutely right. Yeah, we've got limited hours, of course, and we've got 2 locations that are open right now, which is the Cape Canaveral store and the Orlando Megastore.
Okay.
And we're open 11 till 7. But we have, we've got essential products for you. So we carry the condoms. We've got your cleaners, like your soaps and your, we've got penile pumps and Kegel exercises, all the great stuff that we do carry as essential products. But we also have all your fun things that you can do in the bedroom or, in the privacy of your home.
Sure. Now, I happen to have been gifted from Jackie and Deborah a bottle of your toy cleaner, and I never thought about it until now, but I wonder if people thought at the last minute, if they're like, you know what, I'll zip in there and get some toy cleaner, but I can use it for anything because it's a cleaner,
Right?
Yeah.
And
right now, so here's the great thing: we put it on our marquee that we have toy cleaner, and we had a ton of people come in and go, never thought of it.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not cleaning those things, you're an animal. Number one. Number two, I mean, it's just going to prolong the life of your device, let's say.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with the toy cleaner. Our toy cleaners are antibacterial. So, yeah, it's great. You can use, soap and water to wash your toys and things, but an antibacterial spray that you just spray on and then wipe off is so much better for the longevity of your toy. So
sure.
We have those,
I've got another Tom Van tip.
Oh, no. Jacques, this is where Jacques puts the phone down. He goes and gets another
Come on.
he goes and gets a coffee.
My son's got 2 wobbles in their Easter baskets. And
What?
Wobbles are great.
It's
a wobble is like an inflatable like condom ball.
Yeah. It's like a rubber or latex style ball that you inflate that's kind of indestructible.
Yeah,
It's
Wubble, the amazing tear-resistant super bubble.
Yeah, but it tears. Like if it gets whacked by the fan real good, it'll tear. I mean, it's
so I opened up the package, and this one was like the miniature Wubble, and then
it's like a poor man's Tanga egg.
And then it came with a Wubble inflator, which is basically a white hollow stick-like tube. Which on one side has a tip with 2 holes.
It looks like a needle.
Yeah, that you put into the Wubble and then you blow up using your mouth on the other end. But it says, please lubricate the tip with petroleum jelly, and it usually comes with it, and it didn't come with it. And then I knew I had Fairvilla.
What, you had some salted caramel?
You
put wicked salted caramel on your Wubble.
And you could use that to lubricate the Wubble tip.
It
to
also makes
inflate
your Wubble smell better.
Yeah.
If you got a stinky Wubble, you put some salted caramel on it.
My sons are like, my Wubble smells like apples.
Yeah, so does Mommy. Kabam!
Mommy's Wubble smells like apples too.
Yeah, it didn't before I lubed it up though. It smelled like I don't know, office chair.
Little,
You know what, Jacques? I'm sorry.
Fish.
I had no idea where that was going.
That's not fair.
No idea where that was going.
Tom just yells fish. Oh my God! Okay,
why are we 38 years old and that's still a stupid funny joke?
Well, at least
Because
you
you're an
said
old
it.
pop-pop now.
I'm 43 and I'm cry laughing today.
All right, but if we were in middle school, we'd laugh to say, "Oh, Jacques is laughing."
I am in middle school. This is my middle school.
No
Okay,
one's laughing.
let's get out the particulars again. Okay, Jacques, one more time. If people want to replenish, if they want to get some cleaners, if they never thought about this, and maybe my anniversary is tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't have wobbles, but I do have the lubricant.
Okay,
sorry.
okay, let's get out the particulars. Oh, man, I needed that. Okay, so which locations are open and what are the limited hours?
Okay, so Fairvilla Boutique in Cape Canaveral. It's open 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
And then the Orlando Mega Store on OBT is open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And Jacques, I know that there's some people like me who are a little more reserved when it comes to sex and maybe
you're
not
a traditionalist, as you call
adventurous.
yourself.
But really, I've been to Fairvilla dozens and dozens of times, and when you walk in, I think people have to go.
It's like
and
a
see,
department store, folks.
Yeah.
It's not a.
And there really is different portions of the sections of the store that there you start off with, like, you walk in. There's the
essential oils. There's massage oils. There's candles. There's different.
It's a very soft entrance. We carry your sexual wellness products, like you were saying, your massage oils and all that stuff. So it's a very calming entrance into the store. And then, we're limiting only 10 people in the store as well. So you have a really private shopping right now with walking into the store and looking around.
You said soft entrance.
and
I can't help myself.
But mine, not so soft. Back there is, it's close set.
So you're right. Like the Fairvilla Megastore in OBT is gigantic, and you're saying 10 people in that store, you could literally be 50 feet apart, all of 10 people. No problem.
Correct. So we're really practicing the social distancing here in the store too.
Good. Well, stay safe. Tell Jackie and Deborah and all of the team there that we love them and hope they're staying safe and to enjoy this beautiful rain today.
Yeah. And don't let this whole thing, get you into a divorce. Keep your sex life healthy.
Look, sometimes you got to feed the fish.
Come and see us. We got plenty of stuff to help you out.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon, and thanks as always for calling us.
Thanks, guys. You guys stay safe too. I really appreciate it. Always good to talk to you.
All right, man. Take care. That is our buddy Jacques from Fairvilla Megastore. You can go and see him, and you can put some caramel on it.
Yeah,
if you want to.
Put some, on the Wubble.
Yeah, I need that. So it's been dry in the Dennis household lately. I don't know what's happening.
Let me ask you guys this. So last night, where I'm in that stage where like I don't want to get into. There's so many shows. I'm doing it again where like I realize Ozark. I only got through a half of season 2. So now that I've heard so much about season 3 and I want to watch it, but in my mind, I'm like, I have to get through half of season 2 and season 3, and then I'm looking at the whole of it, and I'm looking at like 15 hours of content,
right?
And then I'm like, I can't start it. It's too much. Like if I commit now, I know I'm going to be into 15 hours. Anyway, it's stupid. Psychological.
I do that all the time with show. I start a show, and then I almost did it with Witcher. Witcher's good. But it's not quite good enough to pull me through it easily.
Yeah.
I had to force myself to dig through it. It's a great show, don't get me wrong. It just like the time traveling jump around was a little too
that was awful.
It was just hard to
the timeline situation.
If they'd fixed that, I think it would have been damn fine.
It's same thing like when I started Game of Thrones, I almost had to force myself into getting into it so I'll be excited about it, and I'm not ready to force myself to get into it. It's stupid. It's a psychological block. Anyway, so we started watching that John Krasinski good news thing that he's been doing or whatever.
Isn't that like a web show?
Yeah. It's just a web because it
Isn't it just him talking about good things that are happening in the world?
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I want to see Corona all the time. Are you crazy?
It's just something that he started doing, which it's garnered an insane amount of views, like 10 million views. I
mean, I want to see where you're going with this, but I do have a hot take because I do not like that guy.
So, okay, well, this is the thing. So,
your son says something that's so funny, and now I've started saying it, and my wife's getting mad at me for saying it.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a Max. And I see that guy and I will slap your face. Max will say that. He goes, slap your face. I just want to slap his face.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So,
it's not fair.
So what I know John Krasinski most from, and what everybody probably knows him most from, is The Office, right?
Correct.
And I know his character Jim, and I love Jim, right? So
I'm a Jim fan. Although he's a bit of a jerk, if you really boil it down. Not a good guy.
I heard he's human trash, but I've never watched the show.
Human trash.
So
Juan must have said that.
And I've never watched the what's his movie, the John Reacher or
John Reacher? That's a porno.
Isn't it Jack
I've seen John Reacher. John Reacher's a gay porno. It's awesome. The only way to solve this is for me to stand behind you and reach for it. I'm John Reacher.
Oh, Jack Ryan.
You're horny today, dude. You're all over the place. You're so horny today. What's happening?
So
you must have gotten a double eye of soapy butt on their way out of the door.
I've never watched
butt match.
Jack Ryan or anything else.
John Reacher.
He's been in.
You didn't watch A Quiet Place?
And never watched A Quiet Place. Too much for me. Like with the whole kids running for your lives thing. I'm like, I'm out. So anyway, I'm watching him do this thing, which is a cool thing that he's doing, whatever. But it's not Jim from The Office. It's
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski,
the guy, the real man.
And I'm like, I want Jim. Like, I don't want this guy.
It'll make you feel better.
A pop.
It'll make you feel better if you look at it and you go, slap your face. You got to get it.
And what I realize, and then whatever, it's fine. And but I bet you he likes
prefers being himself than being Jim.
Of course, because because I imagine that everybody like me,
he probably like those gym checks,
who's a dodo. Yeah, of course. But I'm saying he's tired of people expecting him to be Jim because I'm expecting him to be Jim, and it's not fair for him.
I'm sure James Gandolfini had this to a point of absurdity.
Yeah.
Tom still gets called Drunky the Bear.
Oh, I know, but that's different. That's completely different.
But also,
not really.
But no, it is. Well, it's
completely different.
Okay.
I mean, Drunky the Bear. I wasn't really.
You were the Jim of the monsters.
It was an exaggerated,
a real human trash.
It wasn't really a character character that was set up. You know, it was like with Jim from The Office, he's playing this character.
Yeah, he was acting. You were never acting.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
I was exaggerating. Yeah.
But you weren't like, you didn't get your script and go in there and
Of
do
course,
the
yeah.
shtick. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I was like, man, it's a double-edged sword because for everybody who likes Jim, we're like, you're not Jim, you're this other guy that I have to get to know now, and it seems like a little more on the douchier side than Jim. You know what I'm saying? Like a John Krasinski, he's an actor. And he's not okay. This is a harsh thing, you know.
I don't like the guy, man. I don't know why I don't like him. But I think everybody has a guy like that.
But
right?
you know why we don't like him? Because it's not Jim. That's what I think. And psychologically, it's like you're not the Jim we fell in love with. You're another guy, which is fine. You seem like a nice guy. You're not Jim.
I tell you when I made
it's stupid. I didn't realize how dumb it is.
It's not stupid. I'll tell you when I made the turn, and maybe you can
I'm stupid.
help me psychoanalyze this, because I'll tell you when I made the turn. I made the turn on John Krasinski when I saw him move into that whatever the Tom Clancy. He's
action hero.
Yeah, and he's going to foreign lands to inspect missiles and I'm like, no.
It's fine.
No, you're not that guy. And then I heard that Marvel Studios has been talking to him and possibly getting him. Maybe Sam, look that up and see if you can find the rumor. Because I think Marvel was talking to him about possibly playing a superhero in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And
I heard something
and
about that.
No, sorry. You're forever Jim. You have to stay Jim. That's the way it is.
So what got me thinking about this is I bet every actor...
Oh, Reed Richards from Fantastic Four? Ooh, I don't know about that.
Every person in the world would prefer that the public or everybody like them for who they are and who their real personality is, as opposed to the person that they're acting to be. You see what I'm saying? So in this case scenario, it's the best case for this person individually because they're now seeing John Krasinski for himself because he's really, even though he's kind of presenting the news as a newscaster or stuff, but he's able to be himself rather than be a character, and that's got to be ultimately great for a person that wants people to enjoy them for being them, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like. We have the advantage of we do this show. Obviously,
we just exaggerate who we actually are.
Yeah. So
which is nicer than
exactly if we were playing.
But just because you guys don't like him, I'm sure there's a ton of people that still
like
him for him.
More like him than dislike him. I would say.
I think so.
We're in the minority. I know I am,
and of course,
and I'm also self-aware enough to say that it's very unfair.
Right.
For me to say that. I don't know what it is, but it's just like foods. Like if people taste something, they're like, how could you not like that? And you're like, I don't know. It's just
he's fine. He's a likable guy. He's fine. He's not Jim.
I'm glad
Jim's
he's playing,
more likable. But
no, if he's gonna play Reed Richards,
he's not Jim. We get it.
Yeah, he's definitely not Jim. He should change his name to not Jim.
Yeah.
Krasinski. He's playing, I guess, Reed Richards from Fantastic Four. So he's gonna end up playing the douchiest of all comic book characters, the stretchy
it's rumored
guy.
That's what
He's the stretchy
right,
guy.
But...
Is he going to look at the camera when he stretches his arm real big and be like,
but
give like the what ironic eyeball roll?
I equated it to like any of us if we weren't this person, if this was all like acting and whatever, this is like a character we were playing, and then in our real life we were like, then people meet us and they're like, well. Oh, wait a minute. You're not the Tom I'm listening to. You know what I'm saying? Like, that must be weird and hard for that guy to constantly deal with, like, oh, you're not Jim. And like, of course I'm not. I'm an actor, you idiot. And then, but it's like, psychologically, we're just a bunch of idiots who are like, we like Jim. We don't like you.
But you're looking at
that.
like,
idiot. I'm playing a character. And this is good that you like the character I'm playing, but... why don't you like me?
I think he's looking at it wrong. No. You could flip that, and you could probably do this with anything based on your attitude.
Yeah.
He should look at it like, I was such a good actor and I was such a good, believable Jim.
Yeah, I mean, he probably does.
That you guys, that's a beloved character in, like, sitcoms, right?
I feel like this happened with Nick Offerman, too. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people went to go see...
You're not Ron Swanson.
His, like, stand-up, and they're like, It wasn't for me, but I loved his character, so I went.
And it wasn't really supposed to be. They also didn't know what they were getting into because it was supposed to be more of a think of like Henry Rollins. I mean, that's not stand up. It's a smart guy because Nick Offerman's hella smart. It's a smart guy who's worldly, who does woodcraft, who's extremely intelligent, and he goes up there and he tells these tales of theater and of being on an amazing sitcom. And if you go to that and you don't like it, it's not. You're not going there to see Bobby Lee or Dave Chappelle. You're going there to see like a true actor tell tales that are whimsical and maybe you'll identify with them and get something out of it.
I just try to get myself into his mindset of like, I'm sure he experiences that and has experienced that through
what about
this.
Pam?
Same thing. Like she probably's like, you're not Pam. You're like, well, of course I'm not.
What about Roy?
Yeah. It was such a iconic show for so many people. That
when Roy punched the mirror, oh man, it made me love him more.
It's kind of like soap operas and old people like wanting the actor to
really be in love.
Because they made an emotional connection with you.
Yeah, exactly.
And here's the thing, and you'll probably hate to hear this, but the reason you don't like John Krasinski is because you are in love with Jim from The Office.
It's true.
There is some
you like the character and you want that person
What's
to be real.
What's so likable about Jim? I've never watched it, so sell me on Jim.
He's not my favorite character.
You'd have to watch the whole thing. It just,
oh God!
It's just
it's
whatever.
An easy
Too much
watch.
work.
No, there's no rhyme or reason. You can pick up anywhere and watch it.
I'm already watching.
It's just a normal, like, kind of nerdy.
You hate
guy.
nerds.
Yeah. I know, and I just,
So you've given me nothing.
You're kind of Jimish, though.
It's kind of.
What does that mean?
It's hard to explain.
He's the villain of the show, right?
Oh.
And you're the bully. You play all the pranks around here. You are Jim.
It's not.
That makes sense. That means Sam's Pam.
Yeah.
What is it? I thought she was a bitch.
No.
She's just.
Well, that's only the internet, like the internet theories of like Pam's really a bitch. Look at her, like.
Well, if you analyze how they treated
the microphone guy.
Yeah, if you look at how they treated Dwight, I mean, it's bullying.
Well, Dwight just has Asperger's or something.
Yeah, he's definitely on the spectrum.
Oh man, they bully a guy with Asperger's.
Michael's on the spectrum, certainly.
Yeah.
And
same thing with Steve Carell. I'm sure he's got it throughout his career where you're like, you're not
like
him.
Juan says, he's a bully. He goes after engaged women, makes decisions without consulting anybody. That's all pretty much true.
Yeah. Anyway, I as I was watching it last night, I was just like, I'm like now seeing this real person, and I'm like, I'm already judging him for not being a character that I liked more than him.
Did you watch it on YouTube?
Yeah, just watch it on YouTube on the TV.
Did your wife like it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fine show for what it is. Although
I told you to watch What We Do in the Shadows.
I know.
They're like 30-minute episodes, and they're really quick and they're funny.
I'm gonna get into it. Of course we got more time for TV watching. But
God, I'm still playing Animal Crossing. I feel
I just
bad.
started last night.
Oh man, I got Sam on it. I got Butler on it. Oh man,
Tom Nook is a crook.
Tom Nook is a crook.
I don't know what that means.
He's basically a construction raccoon. You'd probably be really good at this game because you navigate raccoons. You're like the Blade of raccoons.
Oh man, my raccoon problem is back with a vengeance. It's
yeah, I heard you have a family that now travels and uses your roof as a highway to get to other parts of Castleberry.
Yes, and what I think has happened is more like obviously everybody's home and they're creating more food trash because everybody's home cooking.
That's true.
And then the army of
the trash is no longer at the restaurants, it's at our houses.
Yes, and then all
That's
the Castleberry raccoons that live in the Castleberry forest near my house have now abandoned going to the Walmart.
Yeah.
And
they can't go up to the Tijuana Flats.
Yeah.
They can't get the 7-Eleven. People are barely going in there.
And mine was packed this morning.
They can't jump over to, what was it, Juicy Crab Legs, which is across the street?
Yeah. They abandoned
Juicy
that.
Seafood. Is that gone?
Yeah. I think so. They have now a new army of raccoons. I think the dysphoria or whatever they had has now they're back. It's bounced back, and they are on my roof crazy. The other night, I heard what seemed like a dozen raccoons running across the top of my roof.
Stomping on it?
And here's the thing.
Are they doing Zumba classes? Like, what are they doing up there?
I made a post on the BDM page. I cut back because all I've been doing is yard work on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I cut back all the trees around my house that the raccoons can climb. That was part of my 30 things in 30 days list.
Okay.
So they couldn't climb up the trees. So I was like, how are they getting up there?
Dude, they can scale buildings.
They can climb gutter downspouts.
Oh, yeah.
And someone sent me a videos of raccoons climbing gutter down. Like,
they can fire rocket launchers too. I've seen the movies.
Yeah, me too.
You know the guys that climb up palm trees or coconut trees to chop the. They climb up like
with white pants on so they get a brown stain.
and so now they climb downspouts. So
you got to knock all your downspouts down.
I guess I have to. Oh, I bought this raccoon repellent, a bunch of it, and I'm waiting for it to show up.
You know what you should buy? You should just buy more bullets and just go kill them. It's maddening to me that you're not killing these things. Like, I would kill them all.
Well, how do you...
His wife's not going to let that go
Yeah,
down.
first...
I just sat out there with a pellet gun, and I'd just start plicking them off, and I'd wound them all. I'd wound them. I'd get them all. I'd mess them up good.
I got a guy that removes rodents and whatnot.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to get professional help.
I would have to start trapping them. The problem
Did
is...
you really buy raccoon stuff, or are you just going to go out there and spread more salted caramel wicked lube all over your house?
Well, what's funny is the raccoon repellent
Repellent.
is...
I got to get some raccoon repellent.
Is basically... I looked at the ingredients because my, Crystal was like, don't put poison everywhere, or like she's thinking it's some sort of...
What if you just put it on the roof?
It's roof poison.
It's
fine.
Yeah.
It's like peppermint. Like apparently,
like the pills I take for my belly.
Yeah, apparently
I noticed there are a lot of them gone.
Peppermints?
Yeah, raccoons and rodents. There's like this peppermint spray that's like very fragrant. Oh God, fragrant. Okay. God damn it!
Fragrant. Fragrant.
Smells like
Peppermint fragrant.
Fragrant. Fragrant. Fragrant. Fragrant. Fray. Cray.
God damn it!
Where's my baby?
Say it again.
I'm not saying it. It smells like peppermint.
Say fragrant.
And
Fragrant.
and
Say vagrant.
and I'm waiting for it to show up, so I spray it all over my house.
Fragrant. Vagrant.
And they're pooping all over my grass.
No, you gotta kill them, man.
Yeah.
Call the professionals.
I got so mad because then
I'd go up there and I'd just start whacking them good.
They get in my trash, and then I go around.
You gotta get bare trash cans too. Don't let them in that trash.
And then they go and pick out my trash, and then
They
go
start
and
pulling out stuff that's embarrassing.
yes,
right?
yeah. They Wawa soap.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, God damn it! You're showing the world how
Yeah.
bad I'm eating.
24 count Bagel Bites pepperoni. They're dragging the family size Bagel Bites box down the
I put this in
Put
the
that
trash.
away.
I'm hiding it from society, and you're exposing this. I want to chop your head off with a machete.
You're letting out your secrets.
They're pulling out like 25 different 18 count toilet paper roll bags, and then your neighbors are like, "Hey, we saw the toilet paper bags. Were you hoarding toilet paper?" Like, no.
Yeah,
Wasn't me.
Yeah, you're eating horribly and then using all the toilet paper you hoarded. And I'm like, goddamn raccoons, I'll chop you crazy. And then
You got to get to chopping.
Yeah, but they come at night, and then I'm too tired and high to chop at night.
Oh yeah, I can't chop.
And I'm scared, because
You gotta
in
be
the middle
sober to chop.
in the middle of the night, I'm higher than Chi and Chong.
Yeah, it's a Chi Chung scenario.
And I don't.
Who's Chi?
He meant Cheech, but hey, dude,
Higher than Chi.
Did you sleep at all last night?
Are you high right now?
I'm higher than Flagrant Chi.
Did you stony baloney your way in here?
No, I didn't. It may be a residual.
I think you mixed up your CBD in your drawer. You're like, I'll take this. Whoa! Uh-oh!
I mean, who knows at the point?
I'm coming, Chi!
I can't see.
I can't see the Chi.
And last night I put on my reading glasses.
My reading glasses.
God damn it!
Oh, I'm into the reading glasses. You're being racist. Why you do it? You can't do that.
I went
to go up on the roof of the chop. And then the reading glasses.
when I put them on, I'm like, whoa! It's so clear,
So vivid.
I can read again.
Can you?
I can read again for the first time.
For the first time.
I did put them on. And I was like, wow, like this helps me a lot because usually, like I've abandoned trying to read certain things. Like I pull up like labels and stuff, and I'm like, don't know.
Come on, man.
And then I'm just like,
How many servings? Nah, I got nothing.
You just wing it.
I'm like, yeah. Like I think squinting and concentrating will fix it. It doesn't.
Do you want me to show you a secret that actually works?
What?
Okay. This is true. This is like an old Mr. Wizard or something I learned back in the day. If you make a pinhole, it works better if you use a piece of paper and take a pen. And you have to go straight through the paper. You can't crinkle it or anything. Just go straight through and make a tiny hole. You can do it with your hand and make like a tiny little hole.
Yeah.
If you hold it up to your eye.
What the hell?
And I'm serious. And you make a tiny pinhole.
Yeah.
It focuses everything and makes it so you're able to see.
You could just get glasses.
I swear to God. No, it's like if you didn't have your glasses and you needed to do it.
You look like a goddamn idiot.
It works.
Oh yeah, I can see.
It
No,
works.
you can't.
I swear to God it works. I swear to God it works.
I can read the whole thing.
See? People in the chat room are, I'm telling you, something I learned.
So like, I can't read the back of my stevia can.
Your
Okay.
soda can. If you make a tiny hole.
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
There you go.
Ingredients.
There you
Ingredients.
go. Nature's glasses are your hands.
Now I see the words, I just can't read them. That's another problem.
Okay.
That can't
Well,
be
you know what?
phrased.
Step 1 achieved. We'll move on to step 2 next
we got
week.
you some hand glasses. So that's great. Now
That's all I need.
Now all I got to do is teach you how to read. We're going to make it through this pandemic.
If only Jim was real. My life would
Can't
be
help you with that one, buddy.
All right.
Let's take a break. We'll come back and do more corporate time right after this. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
Oh, I thought I didn't have your mic on for a
No, I
split
just had it
second
pushed
because
away.
you paused. You gave me the Shannon Burke. Remember, he used to do these long pauses.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say his name. Sorry.
So on the line with us right now, and I'm excited to talk to him because I, in the past month, have gotten into a little bit of botany myself.
Mm-hmm.
With got my tower
You were
garden up
playing
and
with your
running.
cantaloupes last night.
Yeah, then
Oh.
learning how to prune my vegetables, and then I have a little garden going on.
That's
just
cool.
because of nothing to do on the weekends.
Well, you don't got a garden like this guy's garden.
No, and I'm interested in his particular
this guy's,
field.
He should be called King Garden, I think.
So from True Leave, our medical marijuana dispensary partner, we have Andrew, their master grower. How you doing, Andrew?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Man. Well, considering we're doing about as good as we can, and I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, how long have you been master grower for True Leave?
Since 2017.
Awesome.
Wow.
Now the grow facility, it's all indoors, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all of it.
And so I have a little bit of knowledge about growing marijuana and the plant, but I want to ask you from the very beginning, how much or how long does it take from seed to full maturity, or at least flower, for a marijuana plant to grow? Because I'm not sure of the timeline and how long.
Yeah, I don't
it
think I've
takes.
ever fully understood it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like a two-sided question, I guess you could say. If you were just growing from seed, say for yourself, you could probably flower out a plant in 5 months from
Wow.
the time that you planted the seed. If you were indoors, but we grow everything from clones so that we have a consistent crop, and so from the time that we clone until the time that we harvest is about 3.5 to 4 months, depending on the variety.
Okay, that's pretty fast.
Yeah, that's
So,
very fast.
Yeah.
Are marijuana plants fast growers naturally?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very fast. Most varieties are. There's so many different varieties and expressions of the plant that you get some that tend to stay very short and small and grow very slow, and others you can hardly control them.
Really?
They just they shoot for the sky, so to speak.
And again, let me say that True Leave is open right now, and if you want to order online and go make your pickups, there's 3 Central Florida locations all over the state of Florida. You can go to trueleave.com.
I'm on there right now. You can see it in our Twitch chat room. I've got it pulled up. You can find all the different locations, and believe me, there are a ton of locations.
So you talked about, basically you propagate clippings from a mother plant. How do you find the mother plant? Is it like some specific like seed? Is there multiple mother plants? And then once you get to the mother plant, how then you propagate the clippings from that plant?
All right, so typically, to start, if we're looking for a new strain, we'd take the seed that we have. The more the better. I usually like to start with 50 or 100 seeds.
Yeah.
And we would grow all of them out. We would cull all of the males because there are male and female plants. And then from there, we would clone all of our females. Then we would save the clones and flower out the seed plants, looking for the very best ones based off of taste, smell, growth characteristics. That'd be like how quickly they grow, how big the buds are, what they look like, and then of course potency, and then the types of resins. Some plants are better for smoking and making certain kinds of extracts than others, and so we try to go through that whole process, select the best ones. We may cull it down to 2 or 3 very special plants, and then we'll grow those out a couple more times and just pick that absolute winner.
Oh, I didn't know it was that specialized in the fact that you kind of started and then had to curate it down to like the best of the best. It totally makes sense, but I didn't realize that just sounds like a ton of work.
Oh yeah, that whole process can take anywhere from a year to even a year and a half, 2 years sometimes, to really make sure that we get the right one, the one that's going to have some longevity.
Yeah, yeah.
Are all your plants grown in soil or straight hydroponically, and can you explain the difference?
Right, so we use coco coir. So we use a high-grade coco coir. It's kind of somewhere in between hydroponic growing, say, where you're using just water or like rock wool or even clay pebbles, and then a soil or soilless medium that's mostly peat-based. So the cocoa, it's very forgiving, but also allows you to get really good flavor, growth rates. The plants just like it. There's nothing in it, so we're able to supply the exact nutrients that we want the plant to have.
I was gonna say that too, because I dabbled in some hydroponics.
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, with my tower garden, and I've noticed that
he's growing some. We're growing a scorpion pepper to make our sales guy eat it because he's a real dork.
Carolina Reaper.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
What I've noticed is, man, the plants, like I bought 2 jalapeno plants by accident. I put one in my tower garden and one in regular soil in my backyard and a pot. And the difference, it literally...
It's insane.
It's growing 2-3 times faster in the tower garden than in the soil. Like, it's a dramatic difference. And really, the tower garden literally just pours like water that I infuse with nutrients on the roots, and that's it. But that difference is 2 to 3 times the growth. So there's no way to substitute the hydroponic style, or just like putting exact nutrients like you did through like
the coco coir.
Coco coir, which is basically a soil without being a soil that adds nutrients. You're adding the nutrients. So
you're kind of using a very low level of that for what you're sprouting with your seeds.
So it's just way better.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's the growth rate that you get from from hydroponics is pretty wild. There's certain benefits, though, I'd say, that from soil that you get. I tend to see a little bit better flavor and aromas come out of the plant, and oftentimes they look a little better as well. But all plants are different. Some will really thrive in that kind of environment, and others maybe will just do okay.
So, Andrew, how long does a marijuana plant live? Like, does it have a lifespan? I know that, or can you take cuttings from a mother plant essentially for endless amount of time? How does that work?
So, with the mother plant that you would, marijuana plants flower based off a change in the light. So typically people flower the plants under a 12-hour on, 12-hour off light cycle. And then we would keep the mother plants under 18 to 20 hours of continuous light. So if you're keeping your plants in that like 18 to 20 hour light on period, provided you're taking good care of it, you can grow a plant for a very long time, a year or two.
Okay.
That's a long time, yeah.
Yeah, if you're taking really good care of it, I mean, we typically don't do that. We cycle through our mothers fairly quickly, but yeah, you can make them last a long time. Once you do flower them, though, once that flowering period once they've gone through that flowering period, anywhere from 6 or 7 weeks at the earliest, up to 14 or 18 on some sativas, the plant typically dies. It goes into senescence and dies.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you can only yield a crop once from a plant. It doesn't do it. I thought for whatever reason that you could do it multiple times, but once they
yeah. Actually, you could what they call regenerate or re-veg the plant. So you would take, after you flowered the plant, you would cut it back, but not all the foliage and flower off, and you could put it back under 24 hours of light, and in a couple months that plant would regrow itself into a new plant. But typically for commercial production, and even just for people in their general production, they don't do that.
Gotcha.
do you?
I have done it, though. It's also a good way to we were talking about selecting good mother plants. So if you had a plant from seed that you didn't back up and you didn't have clones of it, and you decided that you wanted to keep it, that's a good way to keep
that makes
those
sense.
plants.
Yeah. That's interesting that you could kind of go back, and it's almost like keeping a like a backup on your hard drive, so to speak.
Yeah, it is in a way.
So, Andrew,
doesn't always work though.
Right.
I'm assuming that that marijuana plants don't need to be pollinated.
No, and in fact, that's what's desirable is they call it the Sinsemilla or seedless. As you guys I'm sure are well aware, most cannabis is seedless, and the seeds generally are considered invaluable.
Sure.
In that product. So yeah, we want to isolate the males from the females and just grow the female plant.
Will they both explain to us will both plants create flower?
No, everyone's aware of the flowers of the female plant. The male plant produces a staminate structure, right? So it's like little clusters they almost look like tiny little flowers once they start to pop open.
Yeah.
And those will produce the pollen. They kind of look like the female plant, but very much once they're flowering, but very much like a subdued version of that.
Huh.
Okay.
So, I always wondered where you guys how do dispensaries get the particular seed of certain strands and stuff? Is there some sort of global market for marijuana seeds, or maybe a market within the United States? I know you can't move anything from state to state because it's individual states, so that's all complicated. But like, how do you even go about getting the initial seeds for certain strands?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we produce all our own seed, or a lot of it, and so that's what we typically do. There are companies that do sell seed, though, over the internet.
How many different varieties of marijuana plant are there?
Man.
Like, is it like a ridiculous amount, like uncountable, or it's like, are there just a couple dozen that are sought after? Like, I don't even know, because you've seen everybody knows that so many different strands and the names out there, and like,
right.
But
there's encyclopedia apps for it that
But then there's certain strands that you see over and over. You're like, oh, that must be sought after one.
Sure.
There's all the purple Kush.
There's the popular names.
Yeah. So how many different are
So
there?
there are hundreds, thousands of different varieties. Every time somebody breeds a plant together, or even if the plants will produce seeds on their own naturally. That's kind of one thing that they're able to do just to kind of perpetuate themselves. And every time they do that, you can get a different expression of that plant based on the genes. There's very few plants that breed true, and it's something in cannabis that's not the easiest thing to do. So,
right.
There are a ton, but I would say, there are a few varieties that people have traditionally cultivated and are the building blocks of many strains. So, skunk, you could almost say that skunk's its own thing. So that people talk about indica, sativa, to some extent, ruderalis, right? And then everything is a blend, really, of various indica and sativa types. So there's skunk, which was bred in California in the late 70s, early 80s. That really is kind of its own strain and is a building block of many, many varieties. DJ Short produced a blueberry out of Oregon, which I think a lot of people know. That is a hybrid of Afghani and a couple of different type plants. What else is there? Haze.
Yeah.
Haze has been, again, came from the Hayes brothers in the 70s out of California and was, eventually moved over to the Netherlands and has come back, and that hugely popular.
So
Northern
there's just
Lights.
Multitudes of
It's just a plethora, but those are kind of the big ones that many of the strains have been built off of, and then there's been countless offshoots of all that.
When you say like they created it in the 70s, is that just like they? How did they create it? It's like they took a couple different plants and then bred them to this particular strain, and then
that's some Gregor Mendel type stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, that's kind of like the interesting sort of history, I think, of cannabis growing. So you had a lot of guys, especially some of like the surfer hippies in the 70s, that were traveling all over the world in the 60s and 70s, and they would they'd come across different strains of weed here and there wherever their travels took them. They'd bring back the seeds, and then guys just started growing all those different varieties, acclimating them to their climate, and then crossbreeding them to get what it was out of them that they were looking for.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bigger buds, faster growing, all of that. And so since all of that has been happening since the 60s, now you've gotten to a point where, you have, like we said, just this plethora of different cannabis, really different terpenes that, people never saw, in the past, even just 10, 20 years ago. Incredible amounts of THC and other cannabinoids. So it's come a long way in a short amount of time.
Andrew, if you let a plant just grow out in the wild and you uncut and you didn't prune it or anything, how big would a marijuana plant get?
Again, that goes back to the type of plant. So, if you were growing some type of sativa in the wild, maybe you'd get 8, 10, 15 feet if it was in a really good growing area. Yeah, certain, if you were growing plants, wild plants in, say, Nepal or Pakistan and Afghanistan, those plants might only get a couple feet tall and only be a single stalk.
Huh.
Maybe 2 to 4 feet tall, or small bushes up to about 4 or 5 feet.
So plant, environment, everything comes into everything is a deciding factor. That's very interesting.
And
Sure, but then guys that grow it in the hills of Humboldt, California, they're growing plants that are 15 feet tall, nearly as wide, and they produce 10 or 15 pounds of good flour
That's crazy.
per plant?
Oh my God.
per plant. Yeah,
That's nuts.
those are the big ones, but they're doing it.
And did you say 15
in
feet
Southern
tall?
Oregon,
Did I hear
15
you
feet.
accurately? You said 15 feet tall, and then you said about as wide?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it's pretty wild what some of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, even the average plants are probably 8 to 10 feet tall.
Jeez Louise.
Close to as wide, and will produce anywhere from 4 to 8 pounds of flour. It all depends on what the guys are trying to do.
Right.
And that's outdoor growing.
Yeah. What's the purpose? What's the intent?
Well,
Sure.
that was my last question, Andrew. For you and indoor growing under a light, how much
You're controlling every aspect.
on a perfect plant, how much yield will you get from the flower based on one plant?
Grown indoors.
Yeah.
One of your plants.
One of my plants. So we tend to plant ours pretty densely and grow them. I would say a medium-sized indoor plant, but we're producing 6 to 8 ounces per plant, maybe a little more depending on certain varieties and how densely we pack them.
Wow.
And I think that's pretty common for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what are we talking the size of the grow facility like a True Leaf has? How big of a crop? How many different plants and that kind of thing? Because I just want to.
Sounds like a lot to organize.
I want to. I just want to get an idea of the scope.
Right. So I don't know if I want to talk too much about specifics, but we do grow. Our large standard flower room can produce 500 or 600 pounds of flour at a time.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That is wow.
That's a lot.
He said 500 pounds. That's put a sheet on it big.
Yeah, could you dive into it like Scrooge McDuck?
Got it.
You could.
Because
I got a
seems like,
DuckTales fan.
that seems like a bucket list for
Yeah.
old Tom.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm on my
I was
on
like
my deathbed with the cancer, if somebody just pushed me into the 500 pounds.
I always like when he did the backstroke and then spit the coins out like a water.
Yeah. That takes a lot of talent.
That
Takes a lot of talent to do that.
Spitting butt out. I'm like,
Just eat it. Just eat it.
Well, Andrew,
Man, thanks for your time.
yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. It's super interesting.
It is.
and it's something as
Way better than hearing about your dumb cantaloupe.
Right.
there is something gratifying. I don't know what it is. I was thinking about it last night. Like I'm like clipping my tower garden and watching the
You're
plants grow.
creating something, man.
Yeah,
You're taking care of something. It's cool.
It's
Right.
and there's chemistry involved and the science
That's
in
botany,
it,
brother.
and learning how these plants they'll do what you like. All they want to do is thrive.
Yeah, and you're their
there's-
father.
And then there's ways to make them thrive more through certain ways. It's cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, man, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see you or
Yeah.
get you in here at some point. But stay safe and take care of yourself.
All right, thanks, guys. Good chatting with you.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
too.
man. Take care. There's Andrew.
Yeah, Andrew, the master grower, which is an awesome title of True Leaf. Again, True Leaf open right now.
I heard you're a master grower in the bedroom.
The 3 different Central Florida locations and locations all around Florida. Just go to trueleaf.com for all info. You want to take a break?
I do. Let's take a quick one. We'll come back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
Tom.
Samantha, our producer, is here. I know that this has been an issue for you and Samantha. At least I know I've heard you talk about how it can be saddening to you or sad for you to see the old man bag boy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Edie.
No. You don't have that.
Well, maybe.
I don't have
I
it.
heard Butler has it.
That's because he uses condoms.
I heard it's you got to get it, a certain way.
Yeah.
It's like let's just say I got to stand up to put my sweater on.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But to go along with the bag boy, the older bag boy, that I know it depresses you because it makes you feel like, what are you doing, old man? You shouldn't be here. You should be at home sitting in your chair watching Westerns really loud, drinking sweet iced tea.
Yeah. Something's happened.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, their
Sometimes
wife.
they like to just get out
Their
of the
wife
house.
is 100% of the time dead, and the only reason that they're there is perpetual motion of their body needs to continue, or they'll die too. And it's strictly survival at that point.
It's a past the time.
Yeah, it really is. All you're doing there is putting my groceries in a bag while you decompose on Earth.
Oh man.
So that's what's happening. They're dying, and they want to die, but they're
we're
like,
all dying.
My-
It's just they're
My
closer.
son said I should do this because, oh, Daddy, I miss you. Yeah, So I thought of another one last night because I've been trying to think of more things that make you and I uncomfortable and sad because they're very few. We're very different people. I think humor-wise, I think we're very, very much alike. But in our day-to-day lives, we couldn't be more opposite.
Yeah.
But I did find one, and I want you to tell me what you think.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of this, and it is an epidemic along with older bag boys. It is the plump, older middle-aged mom driving what appears to be her son's either mini truck or small car that has Hatchet Man sticker, loud exhaust.
Yeah.
It has street glow. But you see the mom, the old lady is driving, loud as hell. Or mini truck. It's got sideways license plate. Like she has no business driving the mini truck or the street glow. It's got a Hatchet Man sticker on it.
The tires are somewhere
flared.
They're sideways. They're like at an angle. Why are they at an angle?
And why is the mom driving that?
Yeah.
You have no business driving that. You're a sweet, plump mom. You don't deserve that.
Her car is either in the shop or...
And she should not, but you know what? Then call her an Uber. She should not be driving that. That's not fair. She don't want to drive your car and listen to Yellow Wolf while you're riding it. She don't want any of that. She doesn't deserve that.
Yeah. She just wants to drive up to
like Mr.
Five Below.
Like Mr. T said, treat your mama right.
Yeah. And you're making her drive your hatchback
with
a
POS.
Diagonal tires. And you
got a CD hanging off the mirror. You got
the hood is a different color because you got that at the junkyard because your hood.
Your front windshield is tinted,
Yeah.
dark, like 1%, and then it's got a vanity written in Comic Sans. It says at the top, "Don't look too hard." Like, why do you do that? Nobody wants that, and she doesn't deserve that. Respect your mother or your grandma. Don't make them drive that car. But I've seen it a lot, especially on Colonial when I'm driving down here. You can see it a mile away. You'll see it. You'll be like, "Oh, it's a trashy mini truck," or a trashy little car with a crazy exhaust on it. And then you look inside, it's an old lady, and she's like shaking. She has no business driving that. So anyway, I wanted to point that out. Do you agree?
I do agree, and I have seen that before, and I've often wondered what situation that this lady got herself into where she's driving her douchey kids'
I think you guys you nailed one of them, which is her car's in the shop. She had to borrow her son's car. But the other one is maybe down on her luck, and she had to go to a buy here, pay here, right? And she just needed wheels, and this was cheap.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
The thing is that what's cheaper than that, because they're going to upgrade for your rims and all the aftermarket bolt-on garbage that you did to it. So if you wanted the cheapest car, it would be like some standard, Toyota Corolla that was turned in with 280,000 miles. You know what I'm saying? That's done nothing to it. Those, I assume, would be more expensive at a buy here, pay here. But speaking of those cars, because you bring up a good point, like there's some cars that people, upgrade and put aftermarket parts that look good. Obviously, they're expensive to do. But then there's some that, that they don't have the money to do it properly.
Well,
so they end up just bolting on a bunch of stuff from AutoZone. And,
and it falls into sort of like the import tuner.
Yes,
right?
But it's not real import tuner because
it's AutoZone import tuner.
My buddy, and we know
a lot of stick-on novelty, like a lot of air fresheners, a lot of steering wheel covers.
Yeah, Sebastian from Danger Brain, like he's had cool VW,
well, he's added like cold air intake,
like
a supercharger.
Done it right.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, and then we've seen like other. Even my buddy Alex, for a while, he got into like rebuilding engines on I think like a VTEC or whatever, and then just wanted to build a fast ass
love
car.
Those VTEC engines, yeah.
But then as the S rolls downhill, you get to the guy that with the old CRX. That wants to put
trash.
Wants to drop it low and diagonal tires.
I mean, why didn't you start with just washing it though?
And
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if look, I'm a pseudo car
primer
guy.
paint job.
I don't have a ton of time anymore to do anything, but I've worked on my V-dubs now and again, and I enjoy you start with washing it.
Yeah.
Don't trash it up.
It's embarrassing.
Why you get in there with a blowtorch, you're melting the springs to get it lower, and then when you're pulling out a Burger King, you pull your black bumper off. Come on. Man, are you that stupid?
Flashbacks of high school.
Yeah. You're putting a spoiler on the back. The damn car goes at top speed, 85 miles an hour.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah. Literally the spoiler does nothing. You also screwed it onto your trunk, which
you drilled right through your trunk. Why did you drill through your trunk?
I don't know.
Your trunk did nothing to you. Leave it alone.
I could
drill deep, as Tom says.
I could literally slap it off if I wanted to, because
I could grab it and bend backwards and just yank your trunk off.
You used drywall screws.
Tapcons.
Yeah.
You used blue Tapcons to drill through your everything.
You just bolted on garbage to your car, and it doesn't look cool, and nobody thinks it's cool.
Should I start
shaming?
shaming?
Car guys are laughing at you. Everybody's laughing at you. I don't know who thinks it's cool. You think it's cool.
But do you really? I mean, you gotta know.
Yeah.
I think you know when you fire that thing up. And it's like, and you start going down the road, and that thing's chug-a-lugging. I think you know that you know what you are.
You put a aftermarket air filter on.
Everything's aftermarket.
That does nothing. It's a 4-cylinder garbage car that probably only works on 3 cylinders because it's got 180,000 miles.
That's the thing is you're not willing to maintain it or even wash it, but you'll bolt some junk on it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Man, you can file this under dumb old man, but I'm just saying keep your car nice, like at least clean it up, make it look good. You could start with practical things that will actually make it run better, like something as simple as tires. Put a nice set of tires on.
You guys do realize I drive a clown car, right? that you guys put rims on.
But it's nice. Those rims are nice.
Yeah.
You're rolling on Emmett Smiths while you're BSing.
Yeah. Those tires, those low profile tires,
those are expensive.
I think that was like $800.
I think we got you Pirellis.
I think the rims were more than the tires.
And they're 22s, man.
What did we buy those rims for? I can't even remember.
I think
it was from a listener.
I thought we traded them for edibles, didn't we?
Yeah. There's something. We definitely got them cheap. It was a drug deal.
We got there was drugs involved, guns, maybe.
Oh man, I pulled up to a store to get some beer yesterday, and the guy was like, "Hey, you work for Tom and Dan?" And I was like, "Yes, I do."
Oh no, never say that. What's wrong with you? It's a good way to get killed.
I'm sorry.
Thought I could get a discount. But
every morning when I pull up, I see your truck. I'm like, "Oh, why are we?
We'll take you by surprise.
Why do we do that to her?"
I cannot hide from anyone.
I swear to God, I drove by you one day and I said, "Look at that hot girl driving that really SE car.
Yeah. By the way, we gave.
Did you hear me honk at you? And I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, oh my God, that's my employee.
The person that wants the least amount of people to know who she is.
We
Right.
gave her the
flashiest car.
She drives a.
You want to be the most personal out of all of us, and we gave you the
par-
look at me car.
We gave you the paranoia mobile.
yeah.
Look, it was free. I needed it.
That's true. How's it running?
That's fine. The AC works sometimes.
Oh, we need to get
Oh no,
AC.
is it still going crazy?
If it's like really hot outside, it's not really blowing cold air.
Oh.
Like today, it'll be fine because it's gloomy. Yeah, it's fine.
How's the? You going to use it for your move?
Yep.
So it's going to come in handy. You can pile it.
You need some Freon? I got a Freon adapter. I used to put in my old truck.
Yeah, that's good for the environment.
Two
Just
times a year.
Yeah.
No, they stopped that now. It's fine. It used to be a thing in the 80s. Now there's ozone.
Rich is right in our Twitch chat room. Twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. Would you let us put whistle tips on your car?
What's that?
Like Bub Rub and Little Sis. You don't remember whistle tips go woot woot?
No, but we looked this up one time. Sure.
It's like one of the oldest. That's like one of the oldest viral videos ever.
Yeah.
The whistle tips go woot woot.
Viral videos used to be like local news.
They're fun.
A lot. And
Yo, what's the leprechauns here?
you know what happened is that local news saw the benefit of viral video, and then I think they all tried to start dipping their toe into more ridiculous stuff until now. All it is ridiculous, and it's not viral anymore because it's like, oh, I just turn on local news.
Yeah.
Every story is whistle tips. Like it's all nonsense.
I mean,
everything's nonsense.
My three favorite.
You blew it.
I had this debate with my wife because we watch. Oh man, this goes into dumb old man, dumb old lady, and I'll lump my wife in here. We will. At the end of every month, this is a fact. At the end of every single month, we'll go on YouTube and lay in bed, and we will find news bloopers from that particular month because there's this channel that does them, and we will watch them front to back. And my three favorite viral videos are Whistle Tips Go Woot Woot, Y'all Want to See Leprechaun Say Yeah, and my
Dee Dee Megadoodoo.
How'd you know?
I know.
Old Dee Dee
I know.
Megadoodoo. That Dee Dee Megadoodoo video. If I'm having a bad day, if, when this whole virus thing and everything here and we didn't know what's happening and we're trying, all I got to do is go to YouTube and type in Dee Dee Megadoodoo and that video pops up and I watch that newscaster just butcher that poor fallen hero's name and I get a smile on my face and it makes the day better.
People get mad at you, laugh at it. They're like, some officer died. We're not laughing at that. We're laughing at
That's not funny.
The news lady who's trying to be serious and she can't pronounce the guy's last name and he says Megadoodoo.
Oh,
and we're children here.
Yeah.
We're laughing at that.
Well, it's like the little kid who was on.
Calm down, everybody.
It's like the little kid that was on multiple daytime television shows. Was it Laterio Martin? Who I like to do hood rat things with my friends.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I loved him.
I liked Hide Your Kids, Hide Your Wife.
Yeah,
Antoine
he's a classic.
He's great.
But I think that
you is dumb. You really is.
Yeah.
I love
Dead
him so
Giveaway
much.
is great. I ate ribs with this dude. That guy's great.
That guy's
I
great.
honestly, because
I Love Turtles is great. That's a classic.
and nothing against
This is going to happen, right? Like we'll be years from now. We'll be. What's wrong?
No, I just look at the time. We're gonna go.
Oh, damn it. Sorry.
I know.
That's fine.
Put your heads down.
Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you.
That's one
too.
I'll make up for it now.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorites. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
What's that? Carl Lewis singing the national anthem at the Chicago Bulls game?
The problem is when these things came out, then every program director across our nation said, we need to do more of that. And then everybody started doing more, and then you ruined it. You flooded the market with garbage.
It's got to be natural.
Yeah.
Take a break from the garbage.
Yeah, get back
Trickle it back in.
Just say something that we need to know. Anything.
No.
Nothing?
No.
All right.
All right.
I don't even know any of this. All right.
Take a break. Are we out of here?
Yeah, we're out.
We out.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I bid you a fond Dee Dee Megadoodoo. Goodbye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha, our producer's here. Butler came in for this one because I know he's a massive fan of our next guest.
Yep. Another episode of Quarantine Cribs from our friend. I think I can say that now.
I don't know. Well, he's on the line. I mean, he can correct you. I can say it. I don't know if you can say it.
Mike Aiello is with us on Skype to give us a tour of his home office.
Now, I call Mike Mr. Universal.
Yeah.
But his real title, and it's changed since we've had him on last, is...
Yeah. What is it now?
I'm a senior director of live entertainment for Universal Creative now.
Yeah, that's way good.
And
I'm still a podcaster. That means I have no job.
a true testament of working your way up from the bottom. Literally, we talked to Mike so many times. I know most people know, but started as
He is the Drake song.
the person that gave the Jaws tours.
Did you see his video?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, Mike, I gotta say, man, that video you did of you spieling the Jaws ride, I have watched probably 5 to 6 times. It's fantastic, man. Really, really well done.
Thanks. No, it was fun. It was a little trip down memory lane. And I remembered about 98% of it, which I was really impressed with. But
That is crazy that something like that sticks in your memory just from repetition so much that, I mean, how many years ago was that?
that was I was 17 years old. That was 1996.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy. All right, so let's get to it.
Yeah, we got limited time, and I want to make sure we can get to all this cool stuff because Mike is he's a movie man, he's a sci-fi man, he's a horror man, he's a action figure man, comic man. He likes the stuff that video games, stuff like that, and he collects a lot of cool stuff. Plus, he works in the industry, so
Yeah, he gets his hands on some cool memorabilia.
Yeah.
So let's start with, how many, do you keep a lot of the stuff at your personal house or your office at work? How does that work?
Well, most of it's at my house now. A lot of it's in my garage. But I'm slowly moving things from the garage into the office here in my house. But I've downsized my office at work where I am now on this new project. So I didn't have nearly as much space to put things up. So a lot of it is now here kind of around me. But all kinds of stuff. I just recently I've gotten really into collecting vintage movie novelizations from the 1980s.
Okay.
Okay, I think I've been seeing these. All right.
Yeah, so like I've got all of these here. These are all vintage 80s or maybe late 70s novels. Again, like, authors when movies came out, it was a lot more prevalent back in the 80s than it is now, but they would just do a paperback novel of the film. And I've got a lot. These are on eBay, like really, really cheap, except for this one. This is probably my favorite one. This is super. This is a first edition paperback novelization of John Carpenter's Halloween. This came out even before they knew what Michael Myers was going to look like, because that's the cover, which is not even in the film. I mean, none of
Yeah, it looks a little. He looks a little more jolly there than typically in the movies.
Yeah, but this is super rare. This was I think I paid like $100 for this, but don't tell my wife.
No. But you know what's funny about that is that I remember a time when those books would come out. I mean, obviously I'm 43, so I'm right in the wheelhouse. But did they just get an author and then have them like take the story and put it out, or were there any movies that were out and then they had to go backtrack and make the book? Is that how it would typically work?
Usually, and there's also a great podcast called I Read Movies that actually goes through all these old novels and actually tells the differences between the books and the film that came out, because typically these books would be written based on an early draft of the script. So there are even scenes in the book that never make it on film.
Right. Okay.
Now, Mike,
That's about reading them is that you'll discover these new nuances that, again, an author who got an early draft of the script would expand on, irregardless if it was actually in the film or not.
Right. I mean, it's for you also as a collector and also working in the industry, it's probably extremely valuable to have one of your loves or your passions be what you're doing, because that's just research, right? I mean, you can read these things and maybe get a little couple of nuggets of things that could actually benefit you when you're designing something, right?
Sure, absolutely. And my time with Horror Nights is done.
Yeah.
The new project I'm on, but yeah, I mean, for many years I was blessed with having a job that also fueled a hobby. But so yeah, and again, and you guys know, any creative person, and everybody's creative. I don't care what you do. If you can create a budget effectively, that's very creative. But we all want to kind of radar ourselves around the things that we love, and hopefully it influences the things that we do.
Yeah. So, Mike, do you have a novel or any memorabilia from my all-time favorite 80s horror movie, Monster Squad?
Oh, I don't have memorabilia from it, but I do have. I love that movie. I am so happy you said that. That movie is amazing.
You just earned a lot of points.
I mean, Wolfman has no nards. I mean, it just goes on.
I thought
and
it was
on.
Wolfman has nards.
I think he.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have nards, right? What? Did I screw it up?
Wolfman's got nards.
Oh,
You
God!
blew it.
Hold on.
What did I just
Not
say?
your favorite,
Not
Not your
creative.
favorite.
I'm mixing. Is the Asian from Indiana Jones the Asian kid in there? Because now it's
Well,
all
he doesn't. The Asian kid. Okay, so now you're gonna. The Asian kid from Indiana Jones grabs his nards and says, "Wolfman has no nards."
Oh, it's all now mixing up. And
I'm
now,
so sorry, Mike.
is it, now is that the same kid from Goonies? I can't tell them apart.
Jesus.
No, Monster Squad's great. I do have. It's not in the office because I've got all my vinyl in the living room. But there's an amazing. Mondo put out an amazing vinyl edition of the soundtrack and has such cool art on the inside. But I don't have Monster Squad. I do have. Let's see. Does Skype allow you to like switch the camera around?
Yeah, you should be able to.
yeah.
You should be able to tap it and it'll swivel around somewhere on there. I hope.
Let's see. I don't know. I don't see it. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now we're moving.
Here's a. This is from American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, these were the dream sequence monsters that were in that film. Dan, I know you're a fan. There's some Tatiki.
Oh man, he does such great work. Yeah,
he's amazing.
I have that same. Well, he's different because every single thing he does is completely unique. But I have Elvis Frankenstein hanging it over my tub in my bathroom.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is that a hoverboard? What is that?
Oh, that is a hoverboard. Yeah.
From Back to the Future.
This is actually from the ride attraction.
Whoa.
This was one of the props that was in the case when you waited in the pre-show room before you boarded the DeLorean. This was in the case. When that attraction was going away, a couple friends of mine, we all kind of dumpster dove and found some stuff.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
Well, you got to find, man. That's dope.
By the way, in the future, they designed the hoverboard with way too big of a handles there. You don't need that. You don't need that. It's a waste of space.
You don't know anything about hoverboard.
I'm just saying. You think if you had the technology to design a board that could hover, you would figure out that you don't need giant handles. Come on.
Well, there is a guy that actually invented one that just uses magnets. You can buy it for your living room.
That's stupid.
You can't ride it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those before. So what else we got?
Let's see. Okay, so here's this is
Yes.
one of my favorite 80s horror films. We actually made it into an experience for Horror Nights last year and then as a scare zone the year before. This is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, man, that's too good. And I know that your son is a massive fan.
Yes. He's a bigger Horror Nights fan than I think I am at this point.
Yeah. But he also loves the Killer Clowns. And who doesn't? Like, I was so stoked.
Never seen it.
Oh, never seen it?
It's actually on Netflix now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
All right, I'll
watch
check it out.
You can watch it right now. I love it. Now, is that just a standard? Oh wait, I see is that a proton pack?
Oh yeah, that's this was molded off of the original proton pack from the film.
My God. Come on, man, that's too cool. There's a
Yeah, it's pretty-
Ghostbusters proton pack.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So this is interesting. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, it looks perfect.
So this is this was a press gift we gave for Horror Nights. I think in 2008. It was a press kit, but inside, this is really cool. A lot of people don't know this. Every year when we do Horror Nights, we create these cloisonnés. And these are little medallions that we create for our internal team that as a gift that marks each and every year. And this is a chest full of, probably 20 years of Horror Nights medallions. Each one was, designed and themed. This was the year we did Walking Dead.
Oh wow! This is like almost like a challenge coin.
Exactly. Yep. And then so the front usually is the theme of the event, and then the back the year and kind of the graphic art for the title of the event that year.
These are awesome. I remember when you guys would send those out, and I remember I got one. It wasn't I didn't get the box, but I got another box. It was another year, but you'd open it up and there was it was a black box, and inside the box was a photograph. And when you pulled the paper back, it was a picture of me, and my whole face had been stretched and I'd been murdered. Do you remember that?
Oh gosh, I do remember it. I couldn't tell you what year it was.
I forget which icon it was or which particular, but I remember that one actually got me a little bit. You know, it takes a lot to get me, but somebody had to Photoshop me dead on it was awesome, like really eerie.
It was back in the day when there's a lot less media, so you could send it. You're like, all right, there's about a dozen media outlets in this area. We'll send those out.
We'll send them out some nice press packs.
Nowadays, you're like, well, there's about 50,000 podcasts just in Orlando, so there's that. And then I don't even know where you go from there.
Yeah.
I mean, Facebook Live. I mean, social media. It's endless.
Yeah, a lot of those packs have gone digital now, just again because of the mass. That's on. I'm a massive board game fan. I don't know if you can see these. I particularly like board games that are based around movies.
We have one for you that Butler, our sales guy, has been holding on to a board game for you. We have Butler. You want to go get it? I'll put it on the camera.
Home Alone.
We have Home Alone for you.
Oh, yeah, he messaged me saying that's awesome.
And then I have one more. If you can go get the one that's under my desk, Butler, I'll show him that one. I've got one more board game for you that you might like. Here's the Home Alone board game that Butler brought in.
Pretty jealous of that.
So we're going to give that to you for doing this. And then I have one of the dumbest board games ever created. It's in the office. We'll get to it in a minute. We'll keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Butler.
He can't hear you.
So,
what else do I have here? Again, obviously, I won't go too, but these are Blu-rays and action figures and all kinds of movie-related books. Again, I love this stuff, so I know this is where I write a lot of the stuff, not only for the parks but also on my all my own stuff.
I love it.
So I like to surround myself, but all kinds of these are all McFarlane era horror action figures I've been collecting for years.
Oh yeah, I remember when he did those. Remember all the McFarlane toys that came out with Spawn, and it started with that, and then at least for me, and then it kind of trickled down to all the other crazy. My mom would never let me buy those action figures, Mike, because they were a little aggressive.
They are. There's a lot of a lot of sensitive content.
Yeah, there was like a Hellraiser action figure I remember wanting. Did he do a Hellraiser, like a Pinhead?
Oh yeah. He did a Hellraiser. Yeah, basically all the big bads.
Gotcha.
He did. But they stopped making these in this format. There's new companies now that have a lot of cool action figures. But I've always really loved the detail on these. They're just really well sculpted and they're just really well done.
Yeah, the Psycho one is particularly eerie to me. It just like the look on the face is just like, come on, man, that's weird.
Mike, do you often get angry at that your kids don't know how good they have it having a dad with an office filled with toys and cool things and the fact that...
And his brain is filled with knowledge of entertainment.
Because I feel like back in the 80s, we grew up... I don't know what my dad was into.
My dad only liked one thing, and that was Chuck Norris movies.
He liked whiskey and salt. That's all.
Yeah.
That's the only... I know Daniel for 20 years. That's the only thing I know about...
Whiskey, salt, Chuck Norris... Okay, it was whiskey, salt, Delta Force movies in that order.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we all grew up... We didn't know what our dad was into. He liked to smoke and watch westerns in the living room. Like every once in a while, we'd hide underneath the table because he had one too many after work at a happy hour at the ale house. And he'll kick the door in.
Stop it.
All I'm saying is,
you're embarrassing.
Your kids they can walk into your office and then you got an infinite amount of toys. That brings me to...
Oh my God, you just spit in my eye. Oh God, I've got it now, Mike. Mike, we got to shut it down.
So how do you keep your kids from playing? Do they know that daddy's toys are off limit? Okay.
They respect, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, my son is a carbon copy of me.
Yeah.
He's totally into the collecting and also they're not allowed in this room. So that makes
okay.
Yeah, see, he does a thing that you don't do, which is a boundary.
Yeah. Every day I'd get home, they'd be in my office, they'd be trashing my Wolfman.
Yeah,
And
one of them's running around with a pinhead in his butt.
I'm like, no! I couldn't do it. You're a bad parent.
They can come in here. My son is a better piano player than I am, so he'll practice in here while I'm in the lazy boy, reading or writing. So
Hey, tell Caden to do some more concerts too. He did when this whole thing popped off, he was doing like a quarantine concert, and it was really good. He started doing the Office theme, but he made it really sad.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
that's kind of his jam. He likes to take movie themes and play them as if they are very sad.
Yeah, I think it's so creative, man. I love it.
Mike, I want to talk to you about, because you've done a lot of studying into this from your job and your career, but I'm interested in your take on this because I've often thought that people are psychologically afraid of what they were afraid of as a kid, and you can kind of bring that back if you show them similar scenes to spark this weird fear nostalgia from stuff back in the day. And I'll explain. For instance, we grew up on, our age, grew up on movies that didn't have very good special effects. So a lot of stop motion was used, a lot of claymation was used, and things like that. And specifically that stop motion style of monsters and that we've seen in the 80s and early 90s horror movies. And so,
and even those dumb Tool videos.
So then when I see that now, I find it more quote unquote scary than a fluid CGI that looks too real. Because
a lot of practical special effects are just terrifying to me now.
So yeah, but the nostalgia wise, I like for whatever reason,
I like actual costuming and makeup.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. As opposed to CGI. So are people that create horror movies and stuff, and you aware of that a certain demographic, an age bracket, is going to actually be more afraid of bad special effects
or just more practical instead of done after
than CGI.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the bandwagon that if it can be done in camera, it's going to be much more effective in a horror film. Now, that's not to say that CG it shouldn't work or shouldn't be allowed in horror movies. I just think it needs to be used effectively. For me, and again, I'm kind of bringing my son up on this too. He's 14 now, so he's, my parents didn't care what I watched when I was a kid, and I've been a little more strict with him. But as he's gotten older, I've been introducing certain things. But I am definitely in a camp where I like the practical effects. I like there's a visceral quality to it that is just more effective.
To use a new example, I apologize for cutting you off, but I don't know. I'd like to get your take on this. I've been texting you and your wife about how much I love Mandalorian, and I'm not a Star Wars guy, but I don't know if I would have fallen in love with Baby Yoda had he been a fake Baby Yoda. He was a real Baby Yoda, right?
I completely agree. But the interesting about that show, I think, is that, and again, that show is awesome. It is the most space Western Star Wars has ever been.
Yeah.
But I think the really interesting thing about that show is there are a lot of practical elements, like the child or Baby Yoda, as he's called.
Yeah.
But the fact that most of their sets are all digital.
Yeah.
But still done practically. These are huge, massive LED screens that they place in the set to create the backdrops. It's all done in camera, which is the most amazing thing. There's very few green screens in that show. They're using massive LED walls to create the actual backdrops for the scenes.
And you actually Mike sent me a behind the scenes kind of video on how they do it. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because it's not okay. They're using. I love the fact that they're taking new technology and then applying it to old techniques, and then it just makes it so much better, man.
Mike, because you're a connoisseur of 80s horror, Was there like the culture back then when making horror movies seemed to be that they had to have an element of campiness to them? Like for instance, the example I'm thinking of, like the Freddy Krueger movies.
Yeah. He's a king of the one-liners, right?
There was an element of.
It was like Jackie the Joke Man with a razor glove, you know.
If you watch them back now, you're like, oh, this is kind of silly and stupid and stuff. But as a kid, when we were, 10 years old or younger watching this, it was scary as hell. But you think that horror movies at all bring that into account, or you think they got rid of that campiness? You think what's your opinion on that?
Well, if you're talking about the Elm Street franchise, I think, again, because the first movie, he was a very terrifying character, and his personality was more subdued because that was just scarier. The more about the unknown about his character was actually very intriguing. Dream Warriors, which is the third film, is actually one of my favorites because it of the, I don't know, 6, if you don't count Freddy versus Jason, I think the 6 Elm Street films, Dream Warriors, I think, captured the best of both worlds, where he still was scary, but they ventured into that arena where the bad guy was the guy you were actually rooting for.
Yeah.
His personality was a little more in that mode. And then part 4, 5, and 6 ran with the ball a little bit too far. That was more of the MTV generation where Freddie was hosting, shows on MTV, and he was
right.
doing all of these things that were very separate from the original film portrayal of Freddie. So they kind of went too far, and you saw the films kind of downgrade as they went along. But the first film and Dream Warriors are really the best blend and balance of not only a scary character, but also someone that you want to have a little bit of fun with as he torments young teenagers.
Yeah. Mm. Plus, you had Dawkins on the soundtrack, I believe, for that one, right?
Warriors.
Yeah, it's just so good. I mean, that is probably my favorite too, is 3. Because it's just it's such a good mix. And I love the poster. I mean, there's a lot to it that I really, really enjoy. We probably got the time for maybe 1, 2 more.
Okay, my last question to you, Mike, is what movie from the 80s or 90s, a horror movie, just doesn't hold up anymore? That you can honestly...
You're like a real journalist. That's a hard question.
Well, you could honestly say, like, hey, I loved it back then, and now it just is not good.
Oh, man.
Wow, that's a tough one. I have
a very hard time turning off my nostalgia switch. I really do.
Yeah.
And like for movies like Caddyshack, I know you hate it, Tom, but every time I watch it, I laugh, and I don't think I'm ever gonna not laugh at it. I don't think I can turn it off.
Yeah. And
I don't know if there's one that just doesn't work, because I have a hard time, because I every time I watch an 80s film, whether it's horror or anything else, it just brings me back to a memory of why I loved it the first time and why I love it now. I say there's a lot of 80s comedies that could never be shown today or never be remade the same way.
Oh, yeah.
That they were back then.
I mean, there's a scene in Police Academy where one of the actual recruits drops the N-bomb, and then Bubba Smith flips the car over.
Yeah.
And that was completely acceptable.
Yeah. It's bad.
Yes. They're so it's not really about, I don't think it's the film that doesn't work anymore. I think it's the audience's evolution.
Yeah.
Culturally, we just moved on.
Yeah, I really believe that. But as far as 80s horror, I mean, there's awesome streaming horror services now, like Shudder and Arrow Video, and they've got awesome catalogs of all kinds of really deep cuts as far as horror films are concerned, and I love them all. I mean, I can really appreciate aspects of almost any horror film I watch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's
what a great hobby.
Yeah.
Way better than Cantaloupe, way better than Animal Crossing. Although your son's Animal Crossing Island is legit, and please thank him for the gift of the vaulting pole and the pears.
Oh God.
I will. He got me obsessed on it, but I play that game and just go, Dude, Tom Nook is a mobster.
Yeah,
Yes!
he's a terrible,
I
terrible
hate Tom
raccoon.
Nook.
Tom Nook is a terrible raccoon.
What is that?
Don't trust any Toms, is what my dad said.
You guys are dealing with virtual raccoons. I got real life raccoons climbing on my goddamn roof.
He really does.
Not as bad as Tom Nook.
Mike, he's got an army of raccoons that now dance and they do Zumba and Taibo on his roof.
And they spread my embarrassing trash all over the neighborhood and tell my neighbors how bad I eat.
They've been dragging out his McDouble wrappers.
I'm like, goddamn raccoons.
Hey man, thank you so much for the time and for doing this. It's so fun, and I know we wouldn't. I don't even think we'd have time to hit everything because you have so much stuff in there. But let's do it again soon, and wash your hands and stay inside and all that. And we love you, and thanks for the time, man.
Thanks, Mike.
I love you all. Thank you guys so much. This was fun, and again, an awesome break in all this kind of Groundhog Day monotony.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll give the family some love from us, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
I will.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya, Mike.
That is our good friend Mike Aiello from, he's the super duper mega creative everything of Universal Studios. I always get his title wrong, and that's what I do because I'm a bad friend.
You know, that's funny that he said Groundhog Day because my mom literally just texted me this morning. This seems like Groundhog Day.
Well, it all starts to run together. It all starts to run together, and then we're very, very lucky. We are very, very lucky. In the
we
fact
have some sense of normalcy.
that we do. We are very, very lucky. We really are.
We're still working on.
And don't think that I take that for granted either, man. Like
Right.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I think it keeps us a little more sane, and that's why we're trying to spread that out and pass it on to you guys. It's all we can do. But yeah, those are fun, man. Samantha, Tom, best bit I think you guys have ever come up with. That's great, and it does add to the normal to get to see what people are doing.
Yep.
And I don't have.
Instead of a pizza party for this, can I just get a vaulting pole for my Animal Crossing?
We'll give you an Animal Crossing vaulting pole. You know what? I'll do you one better. You got a slingshot?
I do have a slingshot.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I'll give you a slingshot. I'll give you a vaulting pole.
Nah, stupid.
Okay.
I'll give you. What kind of shovel you rocking? You rocking a
I don't
flimsy?
even have
You're
a
rocking.
shovel.
I'll give you a shovel. I'll give you a. You don't need to have a flimsy shovel. You want to have a trusty shovel. I'll give you a trusty.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have oranges? What's your native fruit on
Look,
your
man,
island?
I've only played like 2 hours of it, so I don't have hardly anything.
Yeah, but you should know your native fruit.
I have peaches.
Oh, you're great. I have oranges. If I sell your peaches on my island, you sell my oranges on your island, you'll be rich and I'll be
right.
rich. You're not allowed on the island. What's the name of your island?
I don't want to go.
Sommelier Island.
Sommelier Island. I like that. Mine's La Paz. It's Spanish for peace.
That's nonsense.
We got to take a break, don't we? We'll take a break and we'll come back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.
Welcome back to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha, our producer's here, joining us live via Skype. You know him. You love him. It's our good friend, Seth Petrozelli.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Old thick stash.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, my God.
Okay, all right. All right, so before we brought him in, before he got on Skype, you were attempting to bully our good friend Seth Petrozelli by saying that you think his beard is too big.
No. Well, his goatee, here's the thing. I know I'm talking about a subject I have no business talking about because I can't grow facial hair. But you know him, my buddy from Miami, Dre, he taught me a thing or two about goatees.
No, that's only he's Latin. Like, it's different.
And he's like, you gotta go thin, bro.
No, because he's Spanish.
He's like one line of hair.
One line over his lip. And he goes. You need to get yourself bring it down low. It's called the gay bar. It's called the gay bar.
That's a cultural thing. A lot of Spanish people, Hispanic people do the little tiny line thing. That's just like that's their look.
Oh, okay. Well,
don't do that. So.
That's what I'm used to. So you got a big, thick stash.
He's got the Fred Flintstone.
It's so high.
It's a big cock target. What can I say?
It's
God damn it.
Yeah. This is for the radio, Seth. We
Watch
can't.
your language.
You guys gotta warn. I don't know.
He said a corporate time. Thank you, Sam and I screamed it like we're two siblings in a sitcom.
Seth,
he said a corporate time. We're the Olsen twins.
I like how we expect Seth
to
birthday with them. To even understand what a corporate time means. He doesn't know what the hell
he doesn't care.
I've never been in corporate life. I've never been in corporate life. That guy,
in a corporate life.
He doesn't know what's going on.
I don't even know what a flamingo is. What? I get hit in the head. Hello. Who there?
When I hear the word corporate, I just think of like suit and tie and like guy with a briefcase walking to work. And that's just not. I don't know. I've never done that before.
They're not asking you to do it. The joke is the show. The corporate.
He doesn't know what the show is called.
This show is a
I know what
podcast.
it's called. I know what it's called. That's what I'm saying. But me personally, I've never been in the corporate, world. So it's
Have you ever had a normal job, Seth, even when you're young?
I want to see you as like a big, like steroid swollen stockbroker.
What was your first job?
Yeah, as a kid.
I actually did. I have a good friend who works for insurance sales now, and they have a job opening. And I swear to God, I'm like 10.
That's not the question.
Almost there.
You need insurance, you narp.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Kind of.
You're gonna die at any
Does he
moment.
understand how to answer questions?
Look at how disgusting you are. You
I
need
know
insurance.
I don't want to answer it because, of course, I've had a job before. I didn't like it. I don't like working for people, so that's why I knew from a young age I wanted to do my own thing.
Right, but we want to know what you did.
But I don't want to tell where they were because I said I did bad things there.
Oh,
Get-
God.
Not again.
Get your coverage swole. Petrozelli's insurance. Your premiums are making gains.
I'm actually
bad
a good
thing.
salesperson because I have to do sales at the gym. So
Dropping coverage. Oh, dropping coverage.
I just don't like when
porno,
people tell
man.
me no or have any sort of objections. Then I'll just get pissed off. That's the only problem.
Right.
I have a short temper.
What's that, like,
Yeah, that'll work when you got some old grandma on the line
Yeah.
and you're screaming.
You
at
want
her.
this insurance? Take it! Take it!
You need this insurance, you flabby, disgusting piece of crap. Look at you, you're dying. We'll probably have to pay out after you die after you buy this policy.
Yeah,
So
you want
gross.
your family paying for you? You want to have them taken care of.
So, Seth,
Are you doing more photo shoots with your hot girlfriend by your car in
Yeah,
front of
yeah,
your business?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
that was embarrassing.
I have about like at least 100 pictures from that photo shoot I did with her at different locations. So I'll be posting sporadically.
Did you do any that was,
did it,
any?
I can send those. I'll ask her permission to send those to you.
Yeah, ask her permission to send the what is it called? In public voyeur.
Yeah. We'll, if you, as long as you send those pics, we'll keep letting you plug your gym. Yeah, we'll take pics as payment. That's no problem.
I'll take pics as only payment, and that goes for any client we have.
Yeah.
Steve from Porky's, you want to throw me some D pics?
Yeah.
2 more weeks. Guardian Water,
Yeah.
pics.
No, she's actually a really good sport to do that and stuff like that. I was like, hey, can we do a photo shoot? Oh my gosh, she's like, of course, yeah. So she's really cool. When
I
it comes
think
to
you guys are
stuff.
like.
Some would call it good sport. Others would call it fear.
No. You can look in her eyes and tell that she's a rare breed, and she's kind of down to ride or die with him. You can kind of feel it.
Yeah.
And I meant what I said in that thread about her art. She's a very good artist. I collect local art, so I would buy a piece of art, from her. I'm trying to buy
Really?
it. Yeah, absolutely, man. I love having local art.
We actually just talked yesterday. We were working on. I make her go to the gym. Well, I don't make her. She actually is taken onto it quite nicely. Actually, we go to the gym before I start teaching my virtual class. We go in beforehand and do a little lifting and stuff like that. Anyway, as we're doing cardio, she's like, "Hey, I think I might want to start selling some of my art and stuff like that." I'm like, "I think that's a great idea because her art's amazing." So
Yeah, she's very talented.
So, speaking of that virtual classes, let's plug that real quick at the Jungle.
Oh no, let's take our time plugging that. We'll go slow. And
Well,
Oh,
we
man. You really pissed him off with the beard thing. I feel like
It's
this.
too wide.
I feel like you lit the fuse and you're going to piss him off real bad. You know what?
no, you know what it is? It's because I actually take the backside of the razor. You know the razors, the what is it? The shit. I don't know if it's Schick or whatever, but you flip the other side and it has like a single razor on it that you can
Yeah, it's
etch
like an
real
edging
close.
line. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to get it down at least like 1/8 of an inch, so it's not so thick. But now you just call me out, so now I got to do it.
Yeah. Bring it lower. It looks like you.
Because I've had mistakes before where I've actually gone like halfway down with one and one's up here and stuff like that. It looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
gotta be-
Because when white guys have the big, thick mustache and the goatee, it just looks like you've been eating the Sandman's peel.
That's why I would never have a goatee. I'm not a fan of the goatee look. I got to have the full straps going on too.
Hey, cut. Just rock the understrap. the chin strap.
Oh yeah.
I've done that before. I've done all sorts of crazy things, and I've dyed it the same color as my hair when I used to have hair and stuff like that. Maybe I'll put that back. Mike Lee just did. If you saw him on West News last night, he did the whole. What is that? The handlebar that comes all the way down, but shaved here and shaved here.
That's called the Paul Senior.
Looks like a. Huh?
That's called the American Choppers, the Paul Senior.
Yeah. He's got it going bad and it's thick. So I was like, Jesus, Mike, I don't know if that's a good selling point or what.
Look at my stash. So virtual classes with the jungle, easy to take because during this time of people like obviously gyms are shut down, so people can work out from home. It does help to follow someone telling you what to do because most people just don't know what to do, right?
Oh yeah, my thought that most people are kind of clueless when it comes to anything athletic or fitness or martial arts. I mean, a lot of people have prior experience and stuff, but a lot of them were taught incorrectly as well. They're just doing their own thing, but not only just for physical benefits, but we're really pushing this on the mental side just because mental health is like such a huge issue right now because everyone's essentially locked up in their homes and people don't know what to do themselves. People have a lot of conditions that getting out and exercising were helping.
Did you just crack a whip? It sounded like you.
What?
It sounded like you cracked a bull whip.
Oh, that was my. Did you hear that? Was my knuckle crack?
Oh my God!
What?
Oh, that's
you
not
need
good.
insurance, bro.
Yeah, the big.
That's knuckle cancer.
This is from punching somebody in the head, man. It's all
That's
messed
disgusting.
Wow, that is.
I had to look away from the
Boy, that's
feet.
like having a second D on your hand.
Big knuckles, thick goatee. I know what that means. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you go out to your your tampon mobile and then a waitress sets a rack of ribs on the side of it and the whole thing tips over,
that's
we'll
it.
know.
We'll
know.
Soon to be wearing a big dress, which is weird.
You got a big Tiger King dress on. Take that Tiger King dress off.
Why are you wearing
Honestly, I have been walking around in just a t-shirt with no pants on, no underwear.
You're like a little boy. That's what Tom's sons do.
It's comfortable.
It really is.
So, Seth, we're encouraging people to go to the, is it thejungle.com?
Well, no, it's not, Tom.
Why would it be?
Jungle.
Does everybody go to fitness.com? Is that where we
No,
you know what this guy's clowning you, man. He's clowning you hard.
Is it punch.net? What is it?
CTE.com. No. It's
Oh, don't take the power away.
Yeah, I know. I did it before he could do it, too.
I know.
Anyway, you can go to virtualmmaclasses.com.
Okay.
Or you could just go to jungleorlando.com.
Jungleorlando.com.
It might be easier to remember jungleorlando.com. We actually had 2 BDMs try it out yesterday in my class. So it was actually really cool.
And they won't be back because they're big fat pieces of crap.
I was being respectful to them. I was like, all right, come on. You can keep going. You don't need to stop right now. Come on. Don't take a break. No,
Don't puke on me, Remy.
Really
You idiot.
No, when I shut the Zoom off, that's when I talk crap. No,
Lift those legs higher, Norm. You can barely walk. Ew, you're gross.
Jesus.
So I'm actually teaching the fitness classes, the Jungle Fit classes, but we have Mike Lee is teaching the jiu-jitsu classes, my partner Mike Lee. And then we have Alec. We have all the professional fighters teaching our kickboxing classes, helping out with the jiu-jitsu classes. And Felicia Spencer, who's still fighting for the UFC, is actually helping out teaching the Little Gorillas kids classes too. So I know a lot of you
That's awesome.
Listeners out there have kids that are just sitting around doing nothing. This class is so engaging. Like Alec, Drew, and Felicia, those are our 3 kids coaches. They're doing an amazing job of keeping them intrigued with it. They have daily chores that they're telling the kids to do. So it's not just a class for 30 minutes, but it's also they have homework to do for fitness and for helping out around the house, chores, and all sorts of stuff. So it's great what we're doing with the virtual thing with the kids.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
now that's what your boys need to learn.
Yeah, that's more beneficial than the stuff the public school sends us. The YouTube videos about roots. That's just stupid.
What's going to protect you when somebody kicks your door in? A root won't help you.
So, speaking of Felicia, Seth, did they announce something about her fight? Someone texted me the other day and said that there's been new information about her fight. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true.
So
Okay. You want to elaborate?
Thanks
or-
for calling. We'll be right
I
back.
can't. No, I'm not saying anything because I can't say I can't say what's happening.
Gotcha.
Oh well, he told me. So how does
How
he
did
know?
he know?
Who told you?
I don't know.
Oh,
He's-
it's
Look,
oh,
it's on MMAnews.com.
Tom got a text.
Yeah,
I
but
just found it.
they
I'll
opened
tell
the door
everybody.
Tom
for-
got a text message from Phil, Isha, Spencer, and he thought it was a guy. That's how stupid Tom is.
Damn it,
The fight,
Phil.
the fight-
Isha.
the fight is the same date. We just can't announce where it is and what's going on with that. Like
Gotcha.
MMA
They
Island.
kind of know, but they don't know. So I have an idea, but they don't know exactly. So the fight is on the same date, the 9th, but we just don't know where.
Okay,
yet.
that
So
makes sense.
What does the news say, Samantha?
Basically the same thing. It says
Okay.
that it's going to be May 9th, but they're not giving a location. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So I have an idea, but we just can't say it yet. But I do know that Felicia keeps tweeting, how about the Disney World of Sports? Let's keep it in Orlando. And we're really, really, really trying to push that hard. I retweeted it. I tweeted it. So if you guys and your
I'll retweet.
awesome power.
Well, that's a beautiful.
I mean, if WWE can do it in Orlando, why not MMA?
Yeah, and
That's why we're trying to push it.
well,
That's
Tom
smart.
and I, we worked out at Disney's Wild World of Sports for Orlando City
Yeah.
back in the day, and that as far as
Oh, they got the correct change.
yeah, the place is amazing. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful facility. It's perfect to use.
I just did a karate tournament there. It was amazing.
Yeah, the place is gorgeous. What place did you come in?
That was the one I got first. That was the one that I did. I don't know when was that. Like before my 40th birthday, that I wanted to do a karate tournament again, and I got first.
I want to see you.
Kata.
I want to see you beat up some dads.
Is kata the thing where you just stand there and then pretend like you have an energy ball and then you
Oh,
do
now you're really gonna make him mad.
you do a couple of dukins and, and then
man.
a couple air kicks and you and then you go down and you squat and then you strain.
Why do you do this?
What? That's
I
what
mean, you know that karate is extremely touchy.
I'm just saying. That's what it looks like to me. It's like you're.
I'm not saying
you're,
anything.
you
You're
couple of
practicing
dukins.
repetitive movements, so that way you can actually apply them in a real life application.
Can you do some for us right now?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, if you did some, I could probably get close. I'll do some.
Okay, can you do one, and then we'll have Tom get in front of the couch and then try to replicate what you're doing?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
All right, here.
Wait. Can you guys see me back
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
Yes,
you
we
look great.
can.
You look great. Okay, here's live kata. Okay.
This is called Musubi. This is at attention stance.
Okay.
Is he doing this?
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, he is.
You're basically covering your crotchal area.
Okay, Tom. Okay, Tom. What? Now, wait. You're gonna have to do it after him. So just take notes. Okay, here we go.
Okay. I'm bringing my fist to my right here,
Okay.
All right, fist to the right.
and then exhaling.
Okay. Now,
I can't see what he's doing.
okay. Now, Tom, you do it.
A fist to the right.
Oh, look at those guns.
And then a hop to the left.
Your arm isn't moving. He's
Does he
too.
got his right hand open?
No.
No, he's too stiff.
Oh, you gotta loosen up. Everything's gotta be loose.
Yeah, keep it loose.
He can't get loose. He's sticking his frog ass out now.
Oh, there he is. Oh, you're not gonna be able to get back up, are you?
Oh,
Alright,
no.
The next move. Boom.
Oh, no.
Okay. Your turn.
Oh, God.
man.
He almost
He almost cracked his head open.
You guys, did you see the move I did? Do you want to see what the application to that move is?
Yeah. Show us the application.
Okay. Come on, please.
Oh,
Okay, watch.
Okay, here.
So,
He's gonna.
I just-
oh
I did
no!
this.
Hey,
Don't. Yeah.
All right, did you see I did this right here? That was the first move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody wait.
All right.
Okay, you got to do this to Butler,
He
Tom.
He just
Oh,
threw her.
somebody
He just
grabbed me.
threw her phone out the window.
Watching
Jesus.
domestic violence though.
Somebody grabs me.
All
This is
right.
the first move, so I push it off, and then the second move is here. Ow, man.
You're going to break your
Oh my
wrist.
God!
Push this right down. You're pushing the wrist
Oh, you
down,
pushed
so
her
wrist
into a
up.
fluffy dog. That'll get him. That'll get him. This is the way you defend yourself. You push the robber into a cute fluffy dog,
And then the dog attacks.
And she.
and then the dog will lick the robber's face. You run away.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
into your
Okay.
tampon and drive away.
And she slowly falls on the most plush carpet Richmond
What
can
I'm
buy.
trying to say is each one of those moves has a practical application. It looks like you're just doing this, but you're actually grabbing your wrist and twisting the wrist down and bending it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom didn't even come close to that. Hey, but your arms are looking good. He's muscly now.
So now, Seth, we'll leave it with this. What are some basic workouts that some people can do from home? That like if you were going to just say, all right, if you do these 5 things, how often do you say people should work out? Is like, don't you need recovery time every other day, something like that?
Yeah, of course you need recovery time. But okay, the way that I'm doing the Jungle Fit classes and that we do it at Jungle Fit, we implement each body part in a way where the next day you're kind of resting that body part, working something else, and then the following day it kind of does like a 3-day type cycle. So say I'm doing like a real chest, shoulder, and glute heavy exercise one day, we'll do like a back, bicep, and hamstring heavy workout the next day, and then it just kind of cycles along. So that way you're actually resting the body parts. You're still exercising every day, but you're getting more work with different parts of your body. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So essentially, you are resting. You're doing active rest. So you're actually still training, but you're resting certain types of muscle, the different muscles each day.
Like
it's active recovery, Tom.
Seth, to maintain like your physique, do you have to lift heavy weights? Like, can you just do?
Oh, lots of steroids.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
Because how is it that
like,
you hear that to get giant muscles you need to lift heavy, but then you see gymnasts that are ripped with giant muscles? Is that all genetics?
Yeah. There's definitely a lot to do with genetics for sure. I mean, genetics plays a huge part of it for sure, but you don't need to lift all crazy heavy weights as long as you're lifting properly with good form. Good form is what makes good looking muscle. So you can't be throwing weight up and doing it all sloppy. Like, when you see somebody that has very, very well defined muscle and good looking muscle, I guess you could say, they're actually doing really, really extremely good form, proper lifting, making sure everything's done correctly.
Could you do that with all body weight stuff, like just from pull-ups, push-ups, like body weight squats and stuff? Yeah. Could you maintain a muscle mass?
Yeah, I mean, as long as your diet is on, like that's only half of it. The other half is the diet, because you get people that are lifting absolutely amazingly every single day. Then they go home and they don't get enough protein, they don't get enough the macros, and they look like crap. So, and then you got people that are really busting their butt lifting properly, and then they're eating, they're just going off and eating whatever. It's just you have to have both.
Yeah.
Combinations
that makes sense
to make it work.
That makes sense.
So if you're eating enough protein and you're getting enough food in you and you're just doing body weight, yeah, of course you can grow and you can have good looking muscle.
I'm looking at your beard now and looking at Tom's beard now, and I feel like I'm staring at the yin and the yang of Velcro. It looks as if you, Seth, are the stiff, the hard Velcro, and Tom is the bougie or soft Velcro. I feel like if you guys kissed, you'll never make it apart.
I said it before. It looks like a ferret going through chemo on his face. That's
I see. You know what? I deserve it. I make a lot of jokes.
Pretty soon, I'll be at Wild World of Sports. It'll be Seth versus you. And he'll kick your face off.
Yeah. And when I wrestle with my wife, it's hard to get her down.
The way I do the Jungle Fit workouts now is normally at the gym, they were an hour long. Now, with my virtual classes, virtual MMA, virtualmmaclasses.com, we're all doing 30-minute classes. So I tell people before they come into class, I want them to do a 10-minute warm-up or a 5 to 10-minute warm-up. That way they're not coming in cold.
Yeah.
And then I have them do a 25-minute super high intensity HIIT, Tabata, circuit type program.
Man, so I love Tabata.
They're working out straight for 25 minutes. Usually there's a minute break in between sets. They're like 5 sets of 5 with a minute break. And I usually have them do super, super high intensity exercises, body weight. I have them use chairs. Like if you got a chair, obviously everyone has a chair at their home. We do like a lot of step ups, a lot of jumps and stuff like that on the chair. So I implement a lot of like home stuff or home stuff that you have at the house with the workout. So you don't have to have any sort of equipment. Like I took a pillow, you folded it in half, you stuffed it inside a pillowcase and tied it off. And that's our medicine ball. We use that to like slam on the ground to do burpees and all sorts of things. So there's like a lot of things
you can do that.
Then if you put some saran wrap in the in between where the fold is.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen that.
Well,
I tried to wrestle with my wife too, Tom, and it's hard because she's built like a slippery whale.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like SeaWorld trying to.
It's like trying to catch the world's largest koi. It just keeps slipping out of my grasp, and it stinks.
Fish.
That's what I was getting to. Thank you, Sam.
All right, Seth, we gotta go. We ran out of time.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we love you, buddy. Hey, thanks for letting us play radio with you. Okay.
Yeah, you can play with me anytime.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
JungleOrlando.com.
JungleOrlando.com for all of your virtual. You're gonna do some virtual classes. Look, he's still looking and talking. I just hung up on him.
He's like, how does this
Don't
work?
know.
What is this?
Look how-
is glass. Monkey hate glass.
Mr. Thickstash.
Me looking glass. Me seen the other monkey, and every time me move mouth, monkey moves mouth. Me get you one day. All right, we got to take a break.
All right.
We'll take a quick one. We'll come back and do more corporate time with Tom and Dan. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom. If you want to play some poker for real money, go to bdmpoker.com. There's a bunch of BDMs on there. I know recently one person won $2,500 in a tournament. There's constantly free tournaments.
Yeah.
You don't even have to.
$2,500 is bigger than most stimulation checks.
Yeah, and you don't even have to really put in money because there's a free tournament every day. But if you want to play,
You want to play real? You want to play fun? They got it all there.
they got small cash games like
Okay.
20 cent, 40
I chickened
cent.
out.
What?
I got in there and I started like poking around, and then the my better half was kind of peeking over my shoulder and asking me why I was putting in my credit card information. And
No,
so just word of warning. You're in tight quarters. You're in quarantine. Just make sure you
hide it from your wife.
hide it from your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask her. Just hide it. Let's blow through some voicemail messages. You can get our free app. Completely free. Just go to tomanddan.com. You can find out all the details. All of our content's on there, and you can leave a voicemail message like this one.
Hey, Sam, Tom, Dan, Butler. It's Christina from Oklahoma. I sent a very embarrassing drunk message a couple weeks ago.
Ah, you were good.
I am working from home now. I do work for the government. My husband works for a church denomination that Daniel grew up in.
Methodist.
Anyway, we are both working from home now, and everything's going fine. We don't have kids. We are doing pretty good. It's pretty boring, but I just wanted to ask you guys, how is everything going with, do you think kids versus not having kids would be easier? I know it's kind of impossible to answer that question.
No, it's not. Oh, you're an idiot? I'm sorry. I am
dare
so
you.
sorry. Hold on, I'll pause. I am
It's
so
possible
sorry.
to answer.
What's
I am
the rest
so
of the
sorry.
question?
I did not mean to call you that, but the reaction that Tom and I both had was physical. We both were like, what?
Do you think?
I would cut off my hands to be Samantha right now. Oh, my God.
Do you think me going home without two other small humans that are annoying as S?
I don't know. I saw the
every day-
video your wife posted you yesterday playing.
No,
with
that's the fun
guns.
parts.
Yeah. Well,
That's the
yeah,
fun
yeah.
parts.
Yeah,
There are both. I'm not going to say it's not fun.
Yeah.
I love playing American Girls and dressing them up with my daughter and doing voices and stuff. You know me well enough to know I like that. But the bad totally outweighs it.
If it was up to me, I mean, if it was possible just to play laser tag all day, every day, and
It's not
nothing
possible,
else,
no.
then
not
that'd
on
be
the
great.
curriculum.
Then I'd say having kids is way better than not because you're.
I'd have more kids so I
Yeah.
could play more laser tag.
The problem is then you gotta bathe them, you gotta feed them, you gotta teach
And
them.
I don't know about you, but these poo-poos, they take a
Yeah.
long time.
Everything. My God. The other day, I am not even joking.
Although Maisie does bathe herself, and that's the best.
My wife was showing houses, so I cooked dinner. So I made mac and cheesy hot dogs, but they're veggie dogs.
Dude, I'm down with mac and cheesy hot dogs.
And then so I made that, and then the boys they ate outside, right? Because sometimes they like to eat outside. So I set them up, and they started eating. I went inside, made my entire dinner from start to finish,
From scratch.
went outside, ate it, and they were only halfway done. That's how long
You almost cursed.
Yeah, I did.
my sons take to eat? Everything is.
How does this work out at school? Like when they have lunch? Because there's a limited time for
Yeah,
lunch.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how does that
Oh,
work?
The teachers are probably like, come on.
Right.
I get their
Come on,
lunch, like I see their lunch after, and there's only half done because they like.
so maybe you're giving them too much food.
Well, yeah, I know. I give them way too much, and Crystal yells at me.
We had to cut back because Maisie eats a huge breakfast, and then everything else is kind of coasting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's actually, I think, how you're supposed to eat.
Yeah, your big meal's supposed to be the.
If
first
you're
meal.
gonna do
Well,
a big meal, you
that's what
should do
some
all
people say.
small meals. But let me go back to her voicemail just to be fair. And again, I apologize for calling you an idiot, but it was just a response. I was triggered. I apologize.
Yeah, we're
I
good.
think if I had a kid, I'm not going to have kids. I'm
Good for you.
turning
Team no
40
kids.
this year, and
Join the group.
we're not planning to do that. But I'm wondering if you guys thought that having the kids at home in a quarantine was more enjoyable than not having that. I don't know. I know it's impossible
Aw.
to say because you guys have your kids and you love them.
Sounds like somebody wants kids, right?
I don't think
Time's up.
No, but she's like, I just thought it might be, I don't know, just
She's
better,
just bored,
just
man.
better
That's what
having
it
the
is.
kids in quarantine.
Yeah. I will tell you though, like some days it hasn't happened in months, but when
Get the sentimental music.
when me and Crystal are at the house and like say the kids go over my mom's whatever for the day, we're sitting here in a quiet house and we're like, this is bizarre that we're both sitting here and there's no kids running around and like there's nothing to like entertain, no one to entertain, no one to make sure.
And then your wife looks at you and
hungry.
she's like, you want to soak my butt?
Yeah.
Because kids inevitably need a lot from you all the time. They're snack, they're hungry, this, they're that.
You got to teach them how to fend for themselves, man.
Well, it's the age, and I assume that once they get older and older, then they start regressing back to their rooms and the internet and things like that. Then you probably go.
Those are the glory days.
Through the withdrawal of that they don't want to hang out with you or do anything because I imagine I'm gonna go through this bad. I think is when my sons inevitably don't want to hang out with me and no more monster. It's gonna be hard for me to handle.
No more monsters.
I may go through this weird
Sex change?
midlife crisis where I wanted more babies for because I'm like, you're too old, you're not fun anymore.
Yeah.
I could see myself having a
What
freak
a weird
out.
mentality.
I think a lot of people do that.
It's
I know. I'm not saying that they don't, but to me it's just bizarre.
Yeah, it is weird.
I just don't think that way.
Because the fun parts, I mean, but you might if you had kids. I don't know. Who knows? It's weird. It is weird though. And you can't do anything about it.
No, yeah.
It's printed in you.
Also, everybody's different, and
There are
it's
parents
all
that have
subjective.
kids that totally don't like them at all. So there's
Very
those guys
true.
too. So you could be those guys, and this quarantine thing is probably driving you
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
I get the good with the bad. The bad's not that bad. So but I'll finish her voicemail.
What's the worst part of being quarantined with kids?
Well,
the up your A all the time, the constant talking of like daddy, or in Andrea's case, it's more mommy. It's just incessant.
they also, I think people without kids don't realize, like, when you get home, it's still work. It is, you never get to relax up until they're asleep. And depending on how scheduled and good you are at bedtime, the vans aren't that good. It's usually around 9,
Ooh.
and so you got about 9 to midnight to start pounding White Claws and getting high because that's it, and that's the only
Good
time.
God,
Now we're different. I run things a little different.
Yeah.
I'm 7 p.m. Danny, and
Yeah.
that holds fast, and it happens.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't happen, sometimes I lie. I'll set the clocks back. It's 6:30. It's 7 o'clock in my
I
mind.
appreciate that.
I'll do that sometimes. I'll set that clock at 6. Like
Because now she can tell time.
Yes, it'll be 6:30, and I'll sneak over to the microwave and boop 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 7 o'clock. Oh, look at the time. Let's go.
Look at the time.
Yeah, I'm a little sneaky on that.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's the most fun playing with them.
It is fun.
More than anything else. I'd really rather do that than you could name literally anything. But the hard part is the parenting and the stuff you have to do to make decent human beings. Like, that's the pain in the ass. That's the work.
But you're doing that.
Like,
so.
that's why I say, like, people see me play with my kids. They're like, you're a great dad. I'm like, this does not make me a great dad. Like, good parenting makes you a great dad, and I'm struggling at that. Like, playing with your kids is the easy
Well,
part.
you cook them a hearty breakfast, so that's a good dad point.
Oh, he's a good dad. Too hard on himself.
I'm just saying, it's like if I was better at parenting and discipline and making them better people, I think that gets swept under the rug of like.
I don't even think I'm good at anything. Like, the only thing I'm good at is fish. I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm just trying to make you guys
But
laugh.
yes, being at home with your kids is definitely harder than
Yeah,
not.
I do not envy any of you guys. I see the posts and I'm just like, ooh, you guys are having it rough.
Yeah,
Let's do this one. Let's see this one.
Hey guys, Sean from Castleberry here, and I am so high right now. But you guys were talking about terrible animal stories and pets and hitting things, and I have one to contribute. I was playing basketball as a teenager a long time ago in front of my house, and I saw a cat. I knew which cat it was. It was my neighbor's cat. Got run over, got hit by a car, and it like crushed its back legs. And I saw it run over to its house, and it was just dragging its back legs behind it. So I'm pretty sure its back was broken. And then it started making the most awful noise an animal can make, like, and it's like echoing through the neighborhood. I'm like, my God, I can't let this slide. So the people that live there is an older couple, and I walk over, knock on their door. I said, hey, I'm pretty sure your cat got hit by a car and it's in your bushes over here making a bad noise. And this lady was like, we'll take Slippy to the vet if it's still alive after dinner. And I was like, what? You're going to sit here and eat dinner while this cat is dying in your front yard going, and sure as shit, they like put it in a recycling bin and just let it die. It died in front of their house. Ate dinner.
Oh my God!
Also, reminds me of, I think it's called The Worst Story Ever Told. Might have been a BDM show.
Oh yeah.
Where you guys interviewed somebody that tried to kill a deer or something, and it's like twisting its head all the way around to where it's looking back at him, and he's trying to drown it in a shallow puddle, and like had a gun and shot it, but it didn't die. And go back and revisit that one at the gym. Guys, peace.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we did do a show called The Horse.
We did like a warning before it too, right? Because we were like,
I had to put a warning on it because
honestly, that story right there was pretty rough.
I got emails from folks that were like really, really mad. Look, it's just a story, guys. Some stories are tragic.
I mean, it was definitely true, but it was, if you're an animal lover, hard to listen to.
It is hard to listen to.
The problem is, you got to realize, and that's the thing I think the world has to realize is like, where, like,
One just that white people don't mess around with their dinner hours.
Like,
that's hilarious.
People's relationships to animals varies very broadly throughout the world, and how you grew up, socioeconomically, lots of different variables go into your relationship towards animals or anything. And people like get incensed that someone doesn't feel the same way. But guess what? Their lives were different than yours, and that's why we all fight, because we can't understand how someone sees something this way, and it's because they grew up
Their
different.
feeling and their love and their attachment is going to be completely different. I mean, you've got this lady who might have grown up on a farm and viewed animals in a completely different way. And then you have Crystal, your wife, who views animals in a 180, from this lady. You know, like they're as much a human as a human.
More better than human.
Yeah, better than humans.
She'll look
right under her sons. I mean, like literally right under them.
She'll look at animals
Than you.
and have more compassion towards animals than humans sometimes. And to some people that's insane, and to others like, oh yeah, of course, it's just the way it is. But like if you grew up and animals were just animals, I mean, we've heard the stories of like, the real man that has hunting.
A lot of farmers
hunting
are like
dogs
that,
and stuff. They'll
all my Uncle Hayden, everybody that owned a farm in Virginia, all of those guys. I mean, they didn't even dogs. Their most trusted and loyal dog.
Yeah.
If it got sick or something, they just go shoot it. No big deal.
Yeah. And they'll love the animal, but it's still an animal to them, and they don't put it at the same level as human.
I told that story about
especially
my grandpa.
farm animals. They'll be able to, and then you have those real man kids that can wring a chicken's neck and and pluck its feathers out and stuff. And that 6-year-old that we met, or at least saw in Colorado, that was driving that side-by-side when we went on the 4-wheel tour.
Oh, he was amazing. He had a gun on the back of his 4-wheel.
Like, that kid could kill a chicken no problem.
I want to see if I remember something correctly. See if my mom's around.
Memory check.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Mama, you're on the show. I apologize. I know you hate that.
That's okay.
How you doing? You sound good.
I'm doing just fine. How about you?
Well, we're still on lockdown. You're still on lockdown, but I'm sure everybody likes getting an update from Mama Dennis, so we're glad to know that you're okay. I was calling to... So, sorry, what were you going to say?
Nothing.
I was calling to see if I remembered something correctly, because we're talking about how there are farmers or real men or country folk sometimes treat animals just as animals, not like kind of how you treat Maggie or I treat Caesar. We treat them as if they're like
Part of the family.
part of the family, best friends, or human.
Yeah.
Didn't your dad's favorite hunting dog get into a briar patch and rip up his penis?
Yes. He did. How do you remember that?
I don't know.
Why do you have such a good memory?
Probably the marijuana, Mom.
It's counterintuitive.
It's
we
got to be
understand it.
something.
Yeah, so, and then didn't your dad have to take care of said dog and...
No, my dad was going to, what hunters did was if they were damaged too badly and they didn't spend money on like taking them to the vet or anything, they just kind of put them out of their misery.
Right, that's what I mean. Didn't your dad kind of take care of him? I mean, like...
No, he was going to.
Oh.
His dogs were in like a lot, and they had these little like wooden houses type things they could get in. It
Little
was like
kennels?
it was like a kennel, only it didn't have a door on it.
Yeah, not like a really bad, a horrible kennel? Like...
No, it wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
And Daddy kept it, all mucked out, and they were fed daily and watered daily. And I begged Daddy not to hurt the dog, and let me nurse him back to health.
You nursed a hunting dog's penis back to health?
Isn't this the plot to
No, I didn't
Charlotte's
do that. He healed on his own.
You didn't have to bandage a dog's ween or anything, Mom? That's terrible.
I put like methylate and stuff like that on it.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you do that for Dad? I'm kidding. I'm joking.
So,
I just went down every day and I petted him and talked to him and put a little medicine on him, and he got well.
I bet your dad was happy because it's one of his favorite dogs, right?
Yeah, he was very happy. Yeah, but Daddy said I spoiled him, and that ruins a hunting dog when you pet him and everything too much.
Yeah,
so.
there's your punchline. Is like at that point he had kind of lost his desire. Wasn't he more of a pet at that point?
Well, yes, because he would follow me after that.
Yeah, because you were like his best friend now.
Well, he kind of was mine,
I follow any woman that puts lotion on my wing.
also, the
I'm sorry, Mama.
You're awful.
I love you too. Oh, Tom wants to ask you something.
No, well, so your dad, and this reminds me of like my pop and that generation.
Very similar, yeah.
So he basically looked at animals like animals, right? The way we treat our dogs nowadays, and I mean, I remember I couldn't even tell my pop that Lena slept in bed with us, and
oh no,
like all this, he would. He couldn't even understand it. He would think I'm insane. Like,
well, they didn't allow animals in the house.
Yeah.
Well, they
but
lived in the country.
I had a little pet dog, and they treated him nicely. But I mean, he didn't ever come in the house. He slept on the back porch, and
That was very common.
Of course, yeah. They're like, why would you bring an animal inside? I still think that way. I tell my wife, but there's no, I mean, it's inevitable that we're going to eventually have we're going to birds, dogs.
You'll get it all.
When my boys grow up and leave the house, my wife,
that's when it happens.
Oh, she's going to go animal hoarding crazy because she's
God.
going to have empty nests and she's going to be crying every day. She's going to go through menopause and then she's going to start hoarding animals.
Then eventually the government will come and move stacks of newspaper and find cat skeletons behind them.
Yeah. and then I'll make my path to my back office, and it'll be my only like safe haven from the
and
house.
You'll just sit there in front of your computer screen, smoking cigarettes and playing solitaire.
Yeah. That's my future, by the way.
That sounds
There's
great.
Not too much to look forward to.
No, never look forward.
Well, I love you, Mama.
I love you too, honey.
Tomorrow's my anniversary, and I hope that I continue on the path with my lovely wife, Andrea, so I can be a couple as strong of love that you and Dad were.
Well, thank you, honey, and I hope you do too, and you'd better.
Oh, well. All right, Mama Dennis, put it down. Well, take care of yourself. Stay inside. Don't go anywhere, okay?
Don't worry. Love you.
I love you too. Bye.
See, she didn't say she wasn't going to go anywhere. She just said, don't worry.
I can't tell her what to do, man. She's 80s,
an independent woman.
77s, 80s, something like that. I mean, look, hey, I can try. All I do, I go through the motions. If you want to do what you want to do, Mama, you do it. But I'm going to have to, for my own heart, tell you, stay inside, wash your hands, don't answer the door, don't do anything, don't go anywhere. Just sit in your chair, read your Bible. That's all I need you to do. Just keep doing that. Okay, you want to do one more?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Oh, this one ties in since we're talking about cats, I guess. Here is a cat story. Not as bad as the other one. Hopefully. I'm rolling the dice.
What's up, Tom and Dan and Sam and Travis? This is Kenny, and you guys were talking last week on ACT about training your cat. I actually adopted a cat when I had a dog who is about 11 pounds, and when the cat grew up to be bigger, they ended up being about the same size, and that actually helped being able to train the cat because they were the same size, so he would rub off and see what his brother was doing. So he saw that the dog wouldn't get a treat unless he sat, therefore the cat wouldn't get a treat until he sat. So I taught my cat to sit for treats. I taught my cat how to fetch for its toys. And it's all because of the repetition of seeing it with another dog doing it. So discipline-wise, I would spray bitter apple in the dog's mouth, which is obviously really just a bad taste. So the dog would use that as a disciplinary device and start like freaking out. The cat saw that, so anytime it acted up, I would spray the bitter apple in its mouth or its face, and it would do the same reaction because it's, my brother doesn't like it, therefore it's a bad thing. And that's how I was able to get my cat to stop clawing on things or stop chewing on things. So I think in order to train a cat, one of the things that helps is getting a dog the same size so that if they're, mimicking each other, they're able to emulate those tasks. I know that was long and drawn out, but hopefully that makes sense. Love you guys.
I do
what the hell is that?
I do like that he refers to his animals as siblings.
Yeah.
I do that too.
I sprayed bitter apple
brother.
in your mouth. Oh my goodness, you're doing the same thing your brother's doing.
Daniel, where's your granddad? Your mom's dad was
Oh, he'd shoot he'd shoot
the phone.
He'd shoot the cat, the dog, and Kenny.
You're spraying what in the cat's mouth? Like,
bitter apple.
Like, is that to kill it? I like how he'd have no concept of like, you're trying to train a cat for what? To sit? What does that do?
Oh no.
Like, got a hunting dog.
It's the one thing that I never saw with all of my farm folk relatives. Everybody in Virginia that had a farm, that's the one thing that wasn't ever on the farm. Cats.
Yeah.
There were no cats. Cows,
they don't do anything.
Well,
Chickens,
they're good for getting
yes.
mice.
Horses, yes. Ponies, baby chicks, bulls, just standard farm, right? But no cats.
Yeah.
Not around the barn. No. Dogs, lots of dogs.
Yeah. The snakes will get the mice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like all the black racers and everything, you just leave those out to get the mice. Cats, they don't do anything. It's like at least a dog can herd some sheep or do something, hunt.
If a cat wanted to, though, which it doesn't,
Right.
but if it wanted to, it would be better than the dog.
As far as stalking something,
but it doesn't want to do that, I don't think.
No.
Like even herding, it's more agile, right?
Yeah.
It's more elegant. Everybody's seen the meme because it's like meme time right now because we're all bored. Throwing memes out, but they're like a video meme of like a lady set up in her hallway all of the bottles from her bathroom, and the cat just gingerly walks through it like it's a laser grid of a bank robbery, and then the dog tries to walk through it and he's just knocking everything over.
Yeah.
So just based on pure agility, if you could train a cat to herd sheep, it'd be really good, I think. It's just not going to ever do it, right?
If you remember when we were talking to that guy in Colorado and he was telling us about those sheep herding dogs that like Peruvians or because they bring someone from South America is like really good at sheep herding and they bring them to Colorado and they come and they stay in like basically covered wagons up on the plains up there and that's where they like. Well,
when were we talking about that?
It was a four-wheeler guide that we had in Colorado, and he was talking about the dogs that they bring and how trained they are, and literally, like, they're just work dogs. Like, they're professionals at herding these sheep, and
they, live for it.
Yeah, and they're just, to these real men, they're just tools that they use to, they feed them some scraps of whatever, and then they go and do it every day. Fine.
There you go. That's kind of what we do, right?
What?
Get our scraps and come back tomorrow. Barf them out again.
So, all right, we got to get out of here.
Yep. Anything to plug?
Go to tomanddan.com for all merch. Sign up to become a BDM. We got bdmpoker.com. And just check out the site and all our shows. Get the app because everything's on there. So
indeed. Everybody be good to each other. Stay inside, wash your hands, and we will see you tomorrow. Or
yes,
we will. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.